There's a lot going on around here today. A lot of joy in this Flynn Broadcasting studio. Sort of a carryover from a crazy weekend where I watched 99 points, 1,500 yards, and the greatest comeback in the history of the school. It's hard to believe that 21 points is the greatest comeback. I've seen him come back against Houston a couple of years ago, twice from 17. You would think 21, but no, that's it. It is the record, and it is against your rival. And we started off talking last week, how can you have a rivalry if you don't win any games? Well, because they were close games and they were meaningful games, and finally Memphis got it. They got it in front of 10,500 that literally sounded like 30,000. It really was a lot of fun. Brett was in Fayetteville, and he's watching, I think, what is becoming one of the great stories. This is Arkansas, and Sam Pittman has done a heck of a job, and it's a feel-good story what's going on in Fayetteville. It was not so feel-good, I'm sure, in Oxford because Ole Miss absolutely self-destructed. That was sort of the way Tennessee was at home, losing for the first time to Kentucky in Knoxville in 36 years. So maybe Kentucky is going to live up to the billing we all thought at the beginning of the year. Alabama showed why they're still the best team in the SEC and maybe the best team in the country. Talking about clutch and the way they were clutch in the second half. How about the Titans? They have found under pressure a way to win, and Derrick Henry is something to watch. We got a World Series, and at least one of the teams we thought was going to make it in there, the highest payroll, made it, but it was really exciting. 2 Monday Night Football games, and today, we'll get into this in a minute, a legend in broadcasting retired. Brett Norsworthy, we got a lot to talk about.
Dave, we do, and I'm glad to hear and see both you and Drew upright and lucid. There was a time there Saturday night I thought I needed to reach out to y'all in case y'all needed a bail bondsman or a drip IV for the party that was going on. I thought I needed to reach out to you. All right, at 35-14, both of y'all, did you think it was over?
No, I will say this. I'm going to let Drew answer that since I've had my speech. Did you hear the question?
I did not. John asked me a question real quick. What's the question?
John Harden.
At 35-14, did you think it was over?
The show. No.
Come on, John.
Yeah.
At 35-14, I was about to start feeling the way I did at Missouri a few years ago, of just feet up on the bleachers in front of me, lean back and try to find a few hopeful things. I had a little bit of hope, but I was almost there.
I never had that feeling like I did in Missouri, and I shared that with you right off the – well, we did everything wrong there. I mean, didn't the punter come in and hit the snapper's helmet in the back on the very first punt of the game? I mean, everything was wrong. Darrell Henderson at the last second decided he wasn't going to play in that game. That I never, ever had that feeling. And I'll be honest with you, Brett, I didn't know that we'd come back to win the game. But I did not think the game was totally over. I watched just a couple of weeks ago in Dallas, Memphis fall behind by 21. So
that's a great point, Dave. And out of that, the Tigers learned something and learned a lot of fight, a lot of resiliency. And I told people on Saturday and into yesterday and today doing some interviews, one of the common denominators in the Sam Pittman great start and the Tigers' resurgence in college football, Barry Odom. Barry Odom was right there, to really help the Tigers with defenses, good defenses, and you're right. The Sam Pittman story and largely on the defensive side, mostly on the defensive side, being written by Barry Odom. So some contrasting games Saturday. You mentioned the Alabama-Georgia game, and we were wondering what would give, what side would break. Something had to give. Would it be offense or defense? In the Tigers game, it really wasn't defense, but there were some stops in there and needed some, just to wing them a little bit to hang on at 50-49. And I thought of both of y'all. I reached out to both of y'all because I knew I knew you had to be on cloud nine and should be.
It truly was one of those games that we'll be talking about forever. It starts off with the Coxie ordeal, where rumblings had been going on all week. You and I both know that. We were basically assured that, he was starting until about an hour before the game. There was still the sense that he could start, even though I think the coaching staff by then really knew that he wasn't going to start. There was also, really until about an hour and a half to 2 hours before the game, there was a sense that the TJ Carter could play. But he's got a hamstring. He's still with the team. I asked point blank after the game about him, and Silverfield basically said, we will not see Coxie again, but we will see Carter. And Carter is obviously, if healthy, a very important piece of a Memphis defense that is going to have to really be figured out, because it has been a defense that truly got burned now 2 weeks in a row on long plays. I don't know, in all the time that I've been here, and that includes the Larry Porter teams, and I love Mike McIntyre, and I think he's a great coach, so I'm not trying to take a shot at him. But in the last 2 weeks, I've seen 70-yard touchdown, 80-yard touchdown, 85-yard touchdown, and 93-yard touchdown.
That's just about every bingo card.
You can't give up 4 plays like that in 2 games and win games. And yet, they're 500 in those 2 different contests. But
is it fixable personnel-wise, Dave? Or is it just not enough
that's
firepower?
That's a good question. I'm not sure, because we really haven't seen enough. If we're being pretty honest about this, the defenses in the first 2 games made adjustments in the second half where they played good in the second half. And now you take this UCF team, now they're averaging, 585 yards a game. So that's a hard team to really judge if you're shorthanded with, because they're doing it so far against everybody. And that is a heck of a scheme. And I really want to throw this out to anybody out there who is a referee. And they can call us at the First Bank phone line, or they can text us at 67129. But in the Central Florida scheme, you will see they do this a lot, where they really spread the field. And by the sideline on one side, depending on the hash, if it's, say it's on the right hash, then right by the right sideline, they put a line of 2. And they do a line of 2 on the number on the other side. And then he's got his choice of what he's going to do. And most of the time, he's going with a quick screen to either side. My question to a referee would be, because I noticed that as soon as he decides which way he's going, the person on the front end of the 2-man line starts to block. Can you legally block until the ball is caught? Because that's a big part of their scheme.
I think it has to do with how many yards downfield, how far downfield are they?
That's the thing. It has to do with if it's a forward or backwards pass. If it's backwards, yes. If it's forwards, you can have obviously the 5 yards of actual contact, and it's the extra stuff if it's a forward pass where it should be an illegal block.
But okay, and I agree with that. But let me ask you something. If they throw that ball and it's incomplete, is it by your definition of what you just described, if they can legally block, then if it's an incomplete ball, that should be a fumble and it's a live ball. But they would never call it that way. They just call it incomplete, and yet they're allowing blocking. I just wonder about the legality of the scheme. That's all.
And that's what all the defensive guys are saying. We don't know what we're defending anymore. I mean, used to you could tell how, kind of how you were engaged off the line of scrimmage, whether to read, run, or pass. Now it's so disguised. It's very difficult to understand it, and it makes the defensive guys look really bad.
Yeah, but back to the Coxie thing. He's leaving, and I think he was going to a funeral, and I think he was going to have to quarantine because he was leaving the bubble, and I think he just said, okay, I'm going to opt out. I don't really know because, honestly, the University of Memphis is not really going to be forthcoming about all this. All he said was he's no longer with the team. So we're just going to have to guess on that. But they overcame this, and they are deep at a lot of offensive positions. I mean, to think that you would finally beat this team and you needed 50 points to do it, but you would beat this team without Kenny Gainwell and Coxie, who are going to be your two main weapons coming into this year, it is quite a story. And it really is a story how this team doesn't quit, because they didn't quit against Southern Methodist, even though they lost the SMU game. That came from a mistake by the quarterback who's just engineered so many great last-second drives now. He did it in Cincinnati. He did it this week. I mean, it's amazing, but they didn't lose their cool in that game, and they came back and had a chance to win the game at the end. They were tied, and now they did it again this week, and they did it to keep alive every possible goal they had preseason that was out there. They can still go to the Peach Bowl. They can still win the conference championship, but they're going to have to win out. That's pretty evident. But they're capable, because I think, and we'll find out when Cincinnati plays UCF, and Cincinnati's going to play SMU next week, so we'll get a sense. But I think UCF is certainly, if not the best, one of the best in the league.
Yeah, and you're for Cincinnati to beat SMU, and then the following week, the Tigers play Cincinnati.
Of course.
Cincinnati beat SMU, you beat Cincinnati, all the business is kind of taken care of.
Right, and now it's a free-for-all. Who's going to be, 1-2 in the league to play in the championship before it's all said and done? And there will be, Tulsa may have a role in all of this. It's unfortunate they could not play Cincinnati.
The rest of the Tiger schedule is brutal, though. I think it is very difficult the rest of the way.
Oh, it is.
Starting this week with Temple in a revenge game.
It is a revenge game. I'm not sure Temple is the same team they were a year ago. This is a team that, frankly, was way behind to South Florida, had a rally to beat a South Florida team, gave up a lot of points to a South Florida team that hasn't scored that many points. So you've got to figure, if you're just looking at the way they've played this year, and Temple's only played a couple of times, but it is not a team that appears to be as good as it was a year ago.
Yeah, and the two local games Saturday and the national game that we'll talk a lot about really were contrasting games. You had Alabama behind at halftime. It was Alabama in the second half. At halftime, Ole Miss was down 20-0 and feeling like, oh, no, here it comes. I mean, it's going to be, 41-10 or something like that. Mount the comeback. 3 minutes to play, 3 timeouts, had 84 yards in front of them to take the lead. Couldn't do it. Came up short, and Barry Odom's defense made the key play. And Sam Pittman, for a young head coach but a veteran football man, top shelf, first class, to take some knees when he didn't have to, when people would have understood, with everything Arkansas has been through really since the Bobby Petrino motorcycle wreck. I think most Ole Miss people would have understood. He knocks it in for a touchdown, wins 40 to, scores 40 points, and you'd almost have to understand that you couldn't be too mad at, but he didn't, because he knows the big wheel, as the Steve Miller Band says, keeps on spinning around.
It sure does. I will say this: the two regional teams that most of this market watches the most in the SEC, or we'll throw all three, because Arkansas, Tennessee, and Ole Miss are the three big ones. The two, Ole Miss and Tennessee, prove once again that if you're really going to be a good football team, you have to have a quarterback that is efficient on a game day. And when you have what Garantano did at Tennessee, a pick six and another interception right off the bat to put you in the hole, and then with Matt Corral, and I don't want to just point fingers, but you can't throw 6 interceptions? My goodness.
He had 6 interceptions Saturday. Arkansas, the entire season last year, over 12 games, they had 6 interceptions all of last year.
In one game, one guy threw all those picks. And one guy had half of them. He's going to get a medal from me a little bit later. But you know what? In this day and age, offense is the name of the game. Just ask Memphis and Cincinnati. But in those particular cases, when you have an offense that keeps turning the ball over, that was 7 turnovers total by Ole Miss, 24 points off those turnovers. You can't win the game when that happens.
And swing and miss twice on the goal line on fourth down stands by the Arkansas defense. So, a lot of things there to go through, and we will go through it all today. And, hey, Tennessee, sports betting, it's almost here in FanDuel Sportsbook. They're giving you the exclusive offer to get started right now with FanDuel Sportsbook, giving you $50 in free bets just for signing up. You heard that right. They're giving you $50 in free site credit to register and verify early, no deposit required. FanDuel, America's #1 sports betting site for a reason. I love my app. Having fun with all the NFL games, with all the baseball, with all the sports going on. They've got odds on all the biggest sports and a simple, intuitive app that makes it easy to find the bet you're looking for, then lock it in and have fun with it. And unlike other sports books, once you win, FanDuel gets you your cash in as little as 24 hours. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. But right now, the right thing for you to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and check out their fantastic app for yourself. Just be sure to sign up and register using promo code CASH so they know we sent you. When you verify your account, you'll receive $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. That's promo code CASH to get $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the great people at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity October sales event. Great offers on all 2020 models and always on special lease options. Call them at 901-362-8833. If you ever thought I looked great in a Lexus, well, now's the time that you will look great in a Lexus. Do it today. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500 and the 2021's on the way. You'll be looking and driving great. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, that is still us basking in the glow of the Tigers' win over Central Florida. Yes, we now have a rivalry. The 13-game losing streak is over. All the goals that Memphis had to start the season are still very much in the offing, but we had to sit through 99 points, 75 first downs. By the way, Memphis was 5 of 5 on fourth down, 1,502 yards. Coaches going for 2, and it makes absolutely no sense. Why? Because, in the words of Ryan Silverfield, we came to win the game. A comeback from down 21, 35-14, biggest in the history of the school. And now a guy who has been knocked for whatever reason, I can't figure it out, Brady White, number 2 in touchdowns thrown, number 2 in total yardage. All he did was go 34 of 50, 486 yards, 6 touchdowns. And he scored a touchdown and got a net of 30 yards. He was brilliant. And so was Dylan Gabriel. Both, by the way, were named the American Athletic Conference Co-Players of the Week. And they both should have been. But this one we will remember not only for the pandemic, but because of the way it came off. And I'm not kidding, Brett, 10,500 sounded like 35,000. It was great.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard they really brought it. Arkansas, their crowd was fantastic Saturday. I have found it to be much younger crowds of the ones that are going that that feel like they're a little more insulated maybe than from the virus, maybe than from older people, and they really bring it. How many fourth downs did you say the Tigers converted?
5 of 5. It was amazing. I kept going, they haven't missed one of these.
That'll get your nerves rolling good.
Yeah.
Saturday, Ole Miss converted more fourth downs than they did third downs.
Wow.
Yeah. My top story, Mac Jones. He put his name firmly into the nomination hopper for the Heisman Trophy in Alabama's decimation of Georgia. If not now, then when for Kirby and the Dogs? Powerful second-half performance by Alabama. And until someone knocks them off, the national title, for maybe and for sure the SEC, goes straight through Highway 82 and McFarland Avenue in Tuscaloosa.
And this legacy as well. It was said by someone in the press box that Nick Saban is the only human being on earth that can will COVID out of his body.
He never had it.
I know.
He took 10 tests.
I know.
And 9 times he was negative. 1 time was a false positive. And I'm not kidding you. People were talking about it like he had stage 4 liver cancer.
Well, it's Nick Saban, and it's COVID. Those are magic things.
And I think it made him mad Wednesday and Thursday, people asking him how he's feeling. And he would respond, I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, I tend to agree with you. Most of the time we would say, okay, well, he's asymptomatic. But when you have all those negatives and that one early false, positive, it seems to me it truly was a false positive. I thought if he'd passed all those that he probably had every right to coach the football game.
Sure.
Not top story of the day.
Well, we are spiking in COVID. I know Nick Saban didn't have it, and I'm really glad that he did not. But we apparently are spiking a bit around this country. Shelby County is pretty good. I'll tell you their numbers in a second. Not exactly great. But I looked at this map today that shows spikes. And every state but 2, I believe it was Maine and Vermont, are the only ones that are in check. Everywhere else, we are seeing an escalation of the virus. In Shelby County today, 287 new and 2 new fatalities. There were a bunch of tests, 4,500. The positivity rate of those is much better than elsewhere around the state, and frankly, our numbers are better than most areas of the state.
They really are.
Yeah.
And Dave, even that ultimate, very sad bottom line number, the fatalities in Shelby County, it's less than across the rest of the state.
Oh yeah, well, its rate is 1.6 or below, 1.6%. So yeah, it is holding its own much better than most areas in this state, and certainly other states too. And even hospitalization space improved. So it's spiking in Tennessee and the United States, but holding its own, it seems, even with the escalation of cases in the state. We've had now 228,000 cases in Tennessee with 2,900 deaths. In Mississippi, 110,000 and 3171. And then in Arkansas, 99,000, 1,700 who've passed 8.4 million now in the United States with 225,000 fatalities, but almost 5.5 million have recovered. We have 2.75 million active in the United States, and around the world, 40.4 million with 1,120,000 deaths, almost 30 million recoveries. But when I'm talking about spiking around the world and elsewhere, this past 24 hours, there were 150,000 new cases worldwide.
Sadly, my not top story will probably be tomorrow's top story as we get ready for game 1, but with all the college football and everything else going on, move to not top story, but still matters. World Series all set. Tampa Bay in their 2nd World Series ever. They've never won a title, and the Dodgers in their 21st ever without a title since 1988. I think everybody knows by now the Dodgers haven't won it since 1988. Corey Seager, NLCS MVP. Randy Arozarena, ALCS MVP.
Oh, he was amazing.
He was the first rookie position player ever to win the ALCS MVP. The MVPs in both leagues, National League didn't start until 1977. Dusty Baker was the first winner. ALCS didn't start until 1980. Frank White of the Kansas City Royals, the first winner there.
And those are your top and your not top stories. Before we send it to the break, news today that's sad but beautiful in its own right. I don't know if you saw, but Doc Emmerich, the voice of hockey for a long time, has decided to retire at the age of 74. He's done, by estimate, 3,750 games. He has done 22 Stanley Cup finals. There is no one that has a better thesaurus in his head than Doc Emmerich. He has a different word to describe every possession of every game. I've never seen anything like it. His excitement, his respect for the game, about as good as any announcer we have ever heard or seen before. And he did it his own way. He decided he'd had enough. He was going to still do some pieces, I guess, memory pieces for NBC, but he will no longer be the voice of hockey. At 74, Doc Emmerich has decided to retire. I know you loved him too, Brett.
I did.
Very succinct. Okay, we take the time out. We are back in just a minute. We will have medals coming your way as you listen to Sports Time on Sports 56.
Memphis Tiger fans, catch the Blue and Gray Show with John Stacey and Drew Barrett, Sunday nights from 5 till 7, right here on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Get your gun, Nelly, and saddle up Penelope. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Buick GMC. Old-time trading prices on over 800 new Buicks and GMCs, and the Sunrise Used Car Corral has over 150 in stock. Sunrise has rustled up a good-looking herd of cars and trucks under $99.95. Ranch managers have been told to cut prices to the bone. If you're a good person with bad credit, SunriseMemphis.com will help put your brand on one of these little fillies. Come on in and save some money during Western Trading Days at Sunrise. Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. Cars cost less at Sunrise, partner.
Kevin Harlan and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner here from Westwood One with a preview of Monday Night Football. Week 6 has the Cowboys taking on quarterback Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. Kurt, a devastating blow for the Cowboys last week when their quarterback, Dak Prescott, suffered a season-ending ankle injury.
Yeah, Kevin, my heart breaks for Dak. We wish him a speedy recovery. But this game is really going to be about these two quarterbacks. Now, Dallas in good shape with a veteran in Andy Dalton. We saw what he could do as we came in last week. And then the young Kyler Murray, who has been dynamic this year, specifically with his legs, but has big playability with him and DeAndre Hopkins on the outside.
It should be a good one as the Arizona Cardinals play against the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No. Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, excludes ACQ fee, $10,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $6.50 acquisition fee, Forte ME 275,992, MSRP 20,510, Soul L706 3372, MSRP 21,885, K5 MG 003,199, MSRP 25,725, K900 MSRP 65,610, L60 26,907, L60 21,220, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020. Dealer stock only. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Where can you find best mass market branded initial quality 5 years running for Kia with J.D. Powers? We Gossett and Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah. Take your pick: 2021 Kia Forte or 2020 Kia Soul. $149 a month lease, 36 months. 2021 Kia K5 beats Toyota Camry with more passenger cargo headroom and legroom volume, plus a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. $189 a month lease for 36 months, all just $31.49 due at signing. Plus 2020 K900, $10,000 off MSRP. So come get happy at Gossett Kia, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
If you want it, we Gossett and Gossett Motor Cars.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back into the Family Leisure Studios. They had a big weekend at Family Leisure as well. Big Tiger fans, I'm sure they were going crazy in the store. But folks have been going crazy because they're cashing in on 30% off spas and swim spas. And I'm talking hundreds of different spas that you can choose from and multiple manufacturers. The one common denominator I like to say is the technology, the state of the art. These are the best in the business, and right now you're getting them for 30% off, and you've got special financing available. If you're thinking about catching a deal on chemicals or accessories at the end of the year, Family Leisure does this every year. They make a real special price on those things that you could take advantage of, and there's always professional delivery that's available. Just get there. I-40 and Whidden Road, they're making your backyard or your patio a staycation place this year at Family Leisure. You ready, Brett, for medals?
I am.
Let's hit it.
Sir.
You want to go first?
I got a bunch.
Me too. Go ahead.
Bronze. Dodgers for that comeback. I mean, everybody kind of picking at them and ready to place the blame. No blame. They're in another World Series. Now it's finish time. Or here comes all those Dodger questions and finger pointing. Bronze to these two quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones, Clemson and Alabama, and also to a wide receiver at Alabama, Devontae Smith. I think they are all firmly in the Heisman mix. My final bronze to BYU. I think they're good. That schedule is pure slop. We've been here before with BYU. They were kind of the original, well, we beat everybody on our schedule team way back in the 80s. They're kind of doing it again this year. Silver medal goes to, I'm sorry?
I was just going to say, if they stay and they're 11th in the country now, if they don't lose another game, I doubt they go down.
Attrition.
And then,
they won't go down. No, they'll work their way up.
And so now they don't get the spot that the Group of 5 champion gets. They do not. But if they're in the top 12, they would occupy a New Year's Day 6 position.
Yeah, they're to be reckoned with, and I think pretty good and very, very physical. Silver medal goes to Sam Pittman in victory, and how he did it in victory. He could have easily punched in another score, took a knee. First-year head coach showing that years and years of college football experience for a program that has been through it all. First time they won Saturday at Reynolds Razorback Stadium since November 5th, 2016. Also, silver medal to the man that hired him, the same guy that hired Eric Musselman. Missed on a couple of bigger names, kind of win the press conference names. Settled on Sam Pittman, settled on Eric Musselman, and a good piece of evidence to ADs out there. Have you be locked in on more than one person. Have a plan B. Have a plan C. Hunter Yurachek made it worth. Silver medal to the Tigers. To win that kind of game and you kind of come to expect it. I keeping up with the score and watching how it was unfolding, I don't know that at 35-14 I thought they'd come all the way back, but then once they got it, I think to – I can't remember, but there was some math in there. I thought they're going to catch them, and when they catch them, they're going to hang on. Gold medal, I just have one, to Nicholas Lou Saban, known as Coach Nick Saban, the face of college football, and at worst, the second best coach ever, and I think he's the best ever. A week that would have undone a lot of programs. Bama came out in the second half and dropped a house on Georgia and Kirby Smart. Now 22-0 against former assistants, and thanks to Ivan Maisel, I got this information that we asked about last week, Dave. Bear was 43-6 against former assistants. Nick Saban's 22-0. The 6 losses, Charlie McClendon got him twice. I think Charlie Mack was 2-15 or 2-16 overall against him, but he beat him twice. He lost once each to Paul Dietzel, Bill Battle, Gene Stallings, and Pat Dye.
43-6, though. You got to have a lot on your tree to get that many games. That's pretty good.
Well, and Ivan said in that tweet with that information, in those days, if you had any connection to him, people were ready to give you a chance, ready to hire you, and kind of the same thing out of the Bama building now, including Joe Judge with the Giants.
My bronze medals, I start with Jalen Greenwood. He's a young running back, 5'9", tough guy. He's had some offers, but this ECS young man had 274 yards on 41 carries. Talk about carrying your team, and they are the first team to beat St. George's this year. So the defending champs in their division, ECS, had to get through St. George's. They did, and Jalen Greenwood was a big reason for that win. I got to give Hudson Clark, he's the DB for Arkansas in the Barry Odom scheme. They came up with 3 interceptions in the win over Ole Miss. I'm giving 3 silver medals, 1 to Clemson, for this reason. I mean, you talk all you want about 73 points. You know they played a bunch of people because I've never seen this stat before. They had 17 different players who caught a pass in that game. 17 different guys had a reception.
Unreal.
Never seen anything like that.
That was the biggest loss for Georgia Tech, I think, since 1894.
And I thought they could hang with them. My goodness, was I ever wrong about that?
Dave. But you were right on your NFL shock yesterday with your Bears. You want to start singing?
No. It's become expected now. They're 5-1. Come on, this is a great team now. They used an ancient strategy. It's called defense. In case anybody wondered.
Boy, that's defense. I heard about that one time in college football.
I got to give a silver medal to Derrick Henry. 22 carries, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. And when they needed him, those touchdowns, including the one on a Wildcat in overtime to win the game, how about Derrick Henry?
Bulldozer.
And my final silver to the Dodgers and to Cody Bellinger, who hit the big home run, and to Julio Urias. His pitching, he shut him down the last 3 innings. I mean, he looked overpowering. So we've got our series with one of the favorites against the upstart, and I'm pretty sure most of America is going to be for the Tampa Bay Rays. And I only got 1 gold, too, and it goes to Brady White and the Tigers. I mean, what a win. It'll be talked about for years and years and years.
Great win. The Braves, though, I said it a few weeks ago, even if they didn't win it this year, the future is very bright.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a tough one to let slip away because the Dodgers aren't going anywhere either.
Well, when you're up 2-0 and 3-1 in particular,
and beat Kershaw,
and beat Kershaw, you've got to win the series. You can't lose 3 in a row. And they did, and honestly, they had leads in those games too. I think you really got to give a lot of credit to the Dodgers and their fortuitous.
My rushed, I've got a couple. The first one, I'll start with the Tennessee quarterback play. Jeremy Pruitt's got that program stabilized. He's got it going in the right direction. Will never win anything big with the current cast of quarterbacks, and another Russ goes to 6 interceptions with Matt Corral. But I will give Lane Kiffin credit for this. Got down on the goal line twice, didn't settle for field goals, went for it. I like that. And stayed with Matt Corral, almost like that relief pitcher that gets battered. You stay with him because you're going to hand the ball again to him the next night, and you want him to do well. Now he needs to have a big case of amnesia and move on from Fayetteville. And my last Russ goes to North Carolina. They were ranked number 5. That's almost as big a joke as Oklahoma State this week ranked 6 and Texas A&M ranked 7. Those are gigantic pretenders.
That could be true, but you know what? That is an early signature win and much needed for Mike Norvell. That will keep the critics at bay. You know, and also you said something that prompted my attention here when you talked about how Lane Kiffin stayed with his quarterback. You'll notice that was not the case in Knoxville, where after the Garantano 2, he went to the freshman who then got picked off himself. Then he brought back Garantano. Honestly, I was prepping and doing part of the broadcast, the pregame, so I didn't get to see it all. But somebody told me he handed the ball off to Eric Gray, like the kid from Memphis and Lausanne, like I want to say 9 or 11 straight plays. He just handed him the ball to say to his quarterback, "No more, boys. We're running the ball. You can't throw today."
Yeah. You know, a lot of people were asking me why didn't John Rice Plumlee come in, and I don't know for certain, but this is my speculation on it. And Lane Kiffin, this isn't speculation. He talked about it post game. What are you going to do? Bring in another quarterback and have a whole different offense set up for him? Nobody has enough time to do that. You can come in and have him run the triple option?
Right. No, absolutely. I've got 3, Russ, quickly. Defenses for both UCF and Memphis. They were non-existent. 1,500 yards and 99 points. Need I say more? Ole Miss's offense gets a Russ. 7 turnovers. 6 picks by the same quarterback, 24 points given up by that offense. That is something I know that will be worked on by Lane Kiffin and the rest of this team. And my final Russ goes to the pitiful New York Jets. They are the only winless team in the National Football League. They have been outscored by 110 points, 185 to 75. That is hard to do, ladies and gentlemen.
One winless team now, and that's the Jets, and they are on the clock for Broadway Trevor Lawrence. It sure looks like, doesn't it?
Yep, sure does. Yep.
And we drafted another quarterback because they've wrecked Sam Darnold. He may end up being decent somewhere, but it's not going to be there because he's going to have to completely start over. We will pick the early Monday afternoon game coming when we come back from the break, and we will pick the traditionally scheduled Monday night game at about 5:30, and I know the perfect way to stock up to watch all that football from about 4 o'clock until about 11 o'clock tonight, and that's at the commissary, either the new Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, all that Memphis-style barbecue and ribs, delicious and authentic because it's slow. Memphis-style great food. Start that barbecue feast with some appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos where they originated. The smoked chicken wings, they're fantastic as well. Then dig into the ribs or the barbecue shoulder, get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich, a big jumbo sandwich, or you can get it on a plate. Comes with beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread as well. You can even order it by the pound or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack, and that is the perfect plan for Monday night watching. You call right now, 901-754-5540. They deliver it out to you, or you can go online at commissarybarbecue.com. Either place in Collierville, Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, you can watch from out on the patio in Collierville at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, and save room for the desserts. Best lemon icebox pie I've ever had, and the terrific banana pudding. Again, 901-754-5540, online at commissarybarbecue.com, and it is time to get on the list for the 36-hour holiday bird for the first round of holidays, and then for the December holidays. Heck, get on the list now for a Super Bowl holiday bird at the Germantown or Collierville commissary.
We will pick the early Monday night Our Monday afternoon football game is really weird. We got Tuesday night. We got NFL all over the place. We'll make our picks in a minute as you listen to Sports Time on Sports 56.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
Shopping should be fun, but that's tough when you're worried about credit. At Aaron's, we make it quick and easy. Before you go, head to apply.aarons.com to discover your leasing power. You'll immediately know how much you're approved to lease to own. Just apply from your phone or computer, then visit your local Aaron's to shop top brands like Samsung and GE with the confidence of knowing you're already approved. Aaron's, easy, beautiful, affordable. Approval is valid only at assigned store location. Not all stores participating. Approval is not guaranteed. Some restrictions apply.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Progressive Motorcycle presents Road Wisdom from the Motor.
Half man, half motorcycle.
If you missed a turn, there's always another turn. Take it to get back to the turn you missed.
Use your turn signal.
Progressive Motorcycle also presents Roadside Assistance. Progressive Motorcycle, for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Cruising through our first hour on this really warm kind of Monday. Last week it felt like fall. Today it just feels like sort of Indian summer with high humidity in the 80s. 2 quick little things before we make these picks. And, Brett, I thank you for sending me this. I was shocked kind of when we heard, I think Keith Smith told us down in Orlando that the NBA expenses on the bubble were $1 billion, right? Didn't you say that? Do you remember?
Very expensive, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was $1 billion. Well, according to RealGM on Twitter.com, the NBA preserved $1.5 billion by playing. So they still got a $1.5 billion revenue stream. Obviously, they're not going to make the money that they would have made if they were playing in their own
But they
arenas.
averted disaster.
They did. They averted disaster and end up, if you do the math on that, they ended up $500 million ahead that would have just totally lost. So good for them.
And today being the 19th of October, 2 years ago, this was the home opening date for the Memphis Grizzlies. And 3 years ago, the home opener was played on October 18th. So we would have been getting close to headed to FedEx Forum for Grizzlies this week or next. Last year they kicked it back a little bit later, but in 17 and 18, opening night was right around this date.
We have a texter who says Mike Norvell deserves a medal. We mentioned it was a win that keeps the critics at bay. Final story before
and you can always give your medals out there.
Yeah, you sure can. We appreciate it when you give your medals too.
A texter makes a good point about Grant Morgan for Arkansas. 19 or so tackles, the game-sealing interception for a return for a touchdown with one arm. I mean, that other arm looked like the bionic arm. He had so wrapped up in some contraption, and he played his tail off. Arkansas's defense was without Bumper Poole and still played that well. And good for you, Dave. I mean, watching Hudson Clark Saturday, I told a friend in the press box, I said, his hands are so good, they need to get him on offense.
We've seen two-way guys before. Give a chance. Put him in, Coach.
Yeah, and a walk-on.
Last story. We don't usually talk golf this time of year, but Phil Mickelson won another Champions event yesterday, and our own Doug Barron ended up in 13, so he made $39,000 for the weekend.
Yeah, Phil's just out there. Come on, Phil. Let Doug and the guys have the money. You won your cash, Phil.
Phil,
stay away.
Here's the thing: is that Phil still has the length of a tour player, and now he's playing on these short courses that the old guys play.
Chip and putt.
It's nothing for him, nothing. But he'll get old too.
Happens to everybody. Cornbread Maxwell was right.
Yep, it sure does. All right, you want to make
all right tonight.
Yep.
All right, here are our totals for the weekend and for the year. For the weekend, I'm 4-5 going into tonight. 40 and 38 on the year, 5 points. Dave, you were 4-5 on the weekend. 39 up, 39 down for the year, but you have 6 points. You lead by 1 point because of all your straight up chicanery. Drew, you went not very good this weekend.
Drew,
you are
I did decently.
Drew was 4-5. He was 4-5.
Same as
33 and 45 for the year. That's right.
Yeah.
But you're down. You're minus 9 points for the year. But you're only down 7 picks total, and that can change in a blink of an eye. First game,
points,
Kansas City.
But points. That's
your points. Yeah.
I mean, that's just.
You were way out there in points at one point. Kansas City, a 3.5-point favorite, coming up here in a few minutes at Buffalo.
Wait. 3.5 is all.
Yeah, that was remember that was the number I gave. We had when we sent out the picks. Or do you want to go off the actual number right now?
No, I'll go 3.5.
I think it has changed.
No. I'll be happy to give away 3.5 because I'm going Kansas City. So I like your number. Yes, 3.5. That's what we're doing.
It is now technically up to 5.5.
That's
but
what
we go off the numbers that I send y'all. Drew, are you okay with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I was probably going to take Kansas City at minus 5.5. So I'm more than happy to take it at 3.5.
He and I are in the same
I'm going to
boat.
take them at anything. 42-21. So there's my math on them.
Wow. So you don't
Dave,
care if it's 3.5 or 5.5? Yeah. Can't see. I
don't
care
if it's 10.5.
I am officially off the Buffalo train after what the Titans did to them. Although the Titans are a good team.
Group
locks.
locks. We went 1 and 2 over the weekend.
Oh, that's better than usual.
We
for us.
won on Memphis. We lost on Ole Miss, and we lost on Green Bay. We're 6 and 13 for the year. So group lock on that one. We'll pick the traditional starting time. We'll pick that about 5:30 and do quarterbacks. And these two were hard, Arizona and Dallas, because Arizona encompasses Chicago Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals,
right.
And they've now been in Phoenix longer than they were in St. Louis.
That's hard to believe, really. I will tell you that I do not have a Chicago Cardinal on my team. I know you thought I would.
I don't either. I thought about Charlie Trippy, but he really didn't play quarterback. It was wing-back, hybrid, kind of like these run-pass option guys. Now, I mean, he would throw it every now and then, but I didn't have Charlie Trippy on there.
Okay. So I do have –
Do you have the old Saluki on there?
I was going to ask you if you knew who the old Saluki was. You know that I have worked with him too. He was another. So listen to who SIU's had as ADs. They've had Gale Sayers and Jim Hart. I work with them both. Jim Hart's a good guy. He's got.
I heard he was one more nice man.
What does that mean? One more
he
nice
was
man.
Really a gentleman.
Oh yeah. He is.
Just a real gentleman.
He and Dan Deerdorf own they own a eatery
Yeah.
In downtown St. Louis.
They did. No longer, but yeah, but it was great for a long time. Deerdorf and Hart's. Yeah.
Yeah, Deerdorf and Hart's
Steakhouse.
I didn't realize that closed up. Too bad. That's an hour in the books. This final portion has been brought to you by Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark Spensdorf. 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks. Sheldon keeps going. He doesn't let the fall season slow him down. People often say when you want the job done, well, you got to call Sheldon. Recently, he was about to put a home on the market in Germantown, but it sold the day before. The following weekend, he listed 2 on Friday. And the one in East Memphis had 3 offers by Saturday night. The other one in Cordova had 4 offers by Sunday evening. In the real estate market, that's pretty good. And it can be even better if you find the right person. There's no seasonal slowdown during this football season. If Sheldon is your quarterback, if you or someone you know is thinking of selling their home, before you draft a quarterback, make sure you have 2 or 3 tryouts and make sure that you see Sheldon run his pass pattern for you. You reach Sheldon simply 901-483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now. Sheldon, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. We are back in just a minute. And when we return, we'll be joined by our friend David Cobb to talk about the crazy college football weekend. He comes your way next.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So, you ready to replace those headlights and wipers? It's a great time to do it, especially with longer nights ahead. We always recommend replacing in pairs so you won't have uneven visibility. We've got the brands you can trust to see the road clear in rougher weather as the seasons change. And you can get it all fast your way with our free next-day delivery or free same-day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
All 75 months at 2.99, Mirage LHO 10129, G4 LHF 07863, Eclipse LZO 15893, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
How about a brand new ride that gets 43 mpg highway, seats 5, plus costs less than $4 a day? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage, buy for $11,100 or $99 a month. 2020 G4, 41 mpg highway, $139 a month, or buy for $12,435. And 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $19,107 or $229 a month. Plus, confidence today, tomorrow, and long into the future with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage, $99 a month. Mirage G4, $139 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $229 a month. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
911, what's your emergency?
This car, an SUV, it was going across, it went around the barrier and the train. Oh God.
Ma'am, did a train hit an SUV? Is that what happened?
Yes, the train is still going. The train is going and the car, I can't believe it.
You can't judge the speed of an approaching train. That's why the signals are there. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
saved big money with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the cash to take a family vacation.
To Hawaii.
Who's up for a luau?
Yay!
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough to go to Hawaii. They'll probably use it for things like the mortgage and groceries, or even a travel magazine, so at least they can see pictures of Hawaii.
Aloha!
Yes, say hello to those beautiful Hawaiian beaches in that magazine. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, WPGFLP Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in hour number 2 on a marvelous Monday. We're all basking in the glory of the Tiger comeback for the ages, down 21 points in the third.
Unreal comeback.
14. It really was.
Was that fun to call?
It was really a lot of fun.
I mean, I know in the middle of it's an assignment. It's not a chore. It's not a task. But you're caught up with, you're trying to, drink water from a fire plug during it, but afterwards the afterglow had to be great. And I texted Drew and said, I think I texted you. I'm not kidding you. There's no drug ever made better than winning.
No, I would agree, especially when
that thrill of victory. Man, there's nothing like it.
Although this one, like I said, I never thought they were totally out of it, lost for sure, because UCF's defense is not exactly a juggernaut. But it was one of the fun games. I mean, I doubt that I will ever be involved in a game again that has 99 points and 1,500 yards. Think about that.
And it's acceptable for you to do it. You had to overmodulate a time or two Saturday, didn't you?
I was so tired, I'm not sure that I did.
You had to scream a time or two during the broadcast.
I'm sure that I did. It really was a lot of fun. There were so many great games as we talked about the Arkansas story. I think becoming nationally one of the better feel-good stories, the way they have turned things around with Sam Pittman and our friend Barry Odom. That is a terrific story in its own right. Look, Kentucky wins for the first time in 36 years, 1984, the last time they were able to win. The
goofiest 2-2 record out there.
It is.
2-2 that should be 4-0.
Well, they certainly should have beaten Auburn. Auburn is fortunate to be where they are.
They should have beat Ole Miss.
And you're right. They should have beaten Ole Miss. They're 2-2. They're probably the most dangerous 2-2 team that is out there. In the meantime, for a living, this is what David Cobb does. He analyzes college football and college basketball for CBS. He joins us now. I don't know how much of the Tiger game, how much of the Memphis game did you see?
Yeah, so I guess probably like a lot of people, I sort of let it fade into the background during the third quarter. And I was kind of taking a little bit of a break to gear up for doing a live vlog on Georgia-Alabama Saturday night. And so I had it on, and I was monitoring it, but I was like, man, and I got to eat dinner and walk the dogs before Georgia-Alabama starts. But I could never actually do those things because Memphis just kept hanging around. And so I'd be like, all right, Memphis is still in this, And then I love the aggression from Ryan Silverfield. A lot of people would have kicked it deep. He kicks the onside kick. 15-yard penalty there really hurts UCF. Memphis defense gets a stop, gets the ball back. It was just awesome to watch. And especially it just felt like so lost in the third quarter. It just felt like it was going to be one of those games where they lost, 49 to 41 or whatever, and Brady White threw for 450 yards, but there really wasn't a lot to show for it at the end of the day. But instead, it turned out to be one of the best wins in program history, I think, right? And so just awesome for Memphis football because they've gone through a lot.
Sure is.
It
sure is.
Over the last 9 months, especially.
And David, just fun to see as we're celebrating the winners. The Arkansas fan base had just been beaten and battered. The Tigers, they hadn't had that. They had turned that corner, but for years they knew that agony of defeat. and the thrill of victory and why you play and the people you knew were really happy and days made. By the same token, you have to, if you got a winner, you got to have the loser. Mm-hmm. David, are we right back to where we were a year ago in Jeremy Pruitt?
Yeah, I mean it's. I don't think it's as bad as it was after losing to Georgia State. Like I said, I mean there's no shame in losing to Kentucky anymore. I mean Kentucky's a good program. There is shame in losing the way that Tennessee lost, though. The manner in which they lost was really, I mean, just unacceptable for a third-year program, for a coach that had appeared to have turned the corner. However, you are correct in assessing that it's not all that different than the situation was last year because, after an 0-2 start with losses to Georgia State and BYU, a lot of people were ready to fire Jeremy Pruitt. And, then he turns around, they go on an 8-game winning streak. So Tennessee is immensely better than it played against Kentucky. If they play that game 10 times, I think Tennessee probably wins it 6 or 7, to be honest. But it was just an abysmal performance, and things are going to get worse before they get better because Alabama's up this week, and that could be a bloodbath. It's just, I still think 5-5 is probably in the cards for this team, which isn't bad, with an SEC only schedule. But boy, that was a discouraging effort from the Volunteers.
And Alabama and Clemson have separated themselves probably with Ohio State. We don't know really how good Ohio State is yet. We'll start finding that out in the next week or two. And they start off with Nebraska right off the bat here this coming weekend. But there is no doubt that when you look at 73 points that Clemson puts up and the way that Alabama in the second half handles what is most people's opinion of the second-best team in the SEC, it's pretty clear they have separated themselves from the field.
Yeah, I still think Georgia's the third-best team in the country. I mean, maybe Ohio State ends up sweeping in there to sort of take that title. But, Georgia was a better team in the first half against Alabama. Georgia looked like it could hang with Alabama. I go back to something that I wrote back when Jamie Newman said he was going to leave Georgia, which is that Georgia's ceiling this season will be determined on JT Daniels. And I still think that's true. I love Stetson Bennett. I mean, one of the best stories in college football. Resonates with me a lot. The undersized guy, and whatnot. Like, he's so easy to pull for. Ultimately, though, I think they might end up having to look to Daniels, or at least give him a shot if his knee is good to go, just to see if maybe he can improve their ceiling a little bit. Bennett just had a couple of turnovers that really hurt him there in the second half. So I still think Georgia's, could be right back in the picture for the college football playoff. I certainly think they're going to the team that's going to come out of the SEC East. And after that, I guess Ohio State probably rounds out the playoff picture right now. I haven't seen anything from anybody else. Notre Dame barely beating Louisville. Right now it's pretty clear cut in my mind. Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State, and that's without even seeing Ohio State play a game yet.
David, we're now 7 years from the 2014 season and the emergence of Paxton Lynch to now with Brady White, that the quarterback position and the quarterback play at Memphis infinitely better than the quarterback play at Knoxville at UT, and they had one of them in Riley Ferguson. And I go to this note: the last time Tennessee beat Alabama was in 2006 with Eric Ainge at quarterback.
Well, if you want to continue the Tennessee-Memphis symmetry, guess how long Tennessee's losing streak is to Alabama?
13.
It's 13 games. Exactly right.
Wow.
But I don't think that means anything for Tennessee going into Alabama as a 19-point favorite. Or they're hosting Alabama, but going into this game, Tennessee would have. You know what? It's funny. I was going to say Tennessee would kill for the quarterback play that Memphis has had over the years with Fuente and Norvell and now Silverfield, but they had Riley Ferguson. In fact, Tennessee had 4 quarterbacks on its roster in Butch Jones. I believe it was first or second season. They were Nathan Peterman, Joshua Dobbs, Riley Ferguson and Justin Worley, and guess who Butch Jones chose to start? He chose to start Justin Worley, and those other three guys have all went on to have tremendous careers. I think Peterman is still in the NFL. I know Dobbs is. I mean, Ferguson was just prolific at Memphis, and so I mean, it's Tennessee. I think hasn't just lacked talent at the quarterback position over the last 7 or 8 years. I think it's lacked proper coaching at that position as well, and I think we're seeing that right now because there's just no reason for Jarrett Garantano to be making some of the errors that he's making now in his 5th year in the program.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Brett. You would go back with this. I'm not sure David would, but this was not Riley Ferguson was not the first quarterback that Tennessee gave Memphis that turned out to be an incredible quarterback. Steve Matthews, and that would have been a mistake either by Fulmer or maybe even Johnny Majors.
Yeah, but at least that was, moving on from him, and they had Heath Schuler. They moved on from Riley Ferguson, and they had what they had.
Right. True.
Yeah, it's been a steady decline for Tennessee at quarterback because, obviously.
That was the nicest way I could put it.
Yeah.
Well, you go Andy Kelly to Heath Schuler to Peyton Manning. You get good, great, all time right there. You drop off a little bit with T. Martin, still great though. Then you drop off.
He won him a national title. Hold on.
Yeah, he wasn't Tate though. But then you go to Casey Clausen. He had some big moments, but then you drop off a little bit further to Eric Ainge. It really is like a bell curve.
You're right, David. Yeah, it went as you said. It went Heath Schuler, Peyton Manning, T. Martin, Casey Clausen was a very good college quarterback. Eric Ainge, and then Rick Clausen, Jonathan Crompton, Matt Sims, Tyler Bray, Justin Worley. Whew.
Dobbs had his moments. But since then
he did.
Rough. I mean, the Quinn Dormady, Jarrett Garantano era has not been kind to them. And they've got 3 guys, other decent quarterbacks on the roster, or at least, in terms of their prospect rankings and the potential and whatnot. But, right now, Jeremy Pruitt seems to be kind of playing the excuse game and talking about, we were so disrupted and with spring practice and preseason camp and all that. And I'm like, well, dude, there's really no excuse because if you go and look last week, look at what Missouri did to LSU with a true freshman quarterback and Connor Bazelak, who goes out there and just torches LSU. A true freshman who hardly had any of those same things that Jeremy Pruitt is complaining about. And so, at some point, I don't know if it just falls on Garantano or what, but Tennessee fans are really unhappy with the quarterback play right now.
Well, that's not the only SEC quarterback that really struggled in a game this week. Yeah. Not to rub it into Ole Miss fans, but I'm scratching my head to remember a 6-pick game by any quarterback. 6 interceptions in one game. That
Kent Austin had 6 in 82, and Archie
Really?
Manning had 6 in 68 against Tennessee. But he acquitted himself quite nicely the next year, and we're hoping that Matt Corral can rebound like that as well. Archie was a first-year sophomore quarterback starting that year, and Matt Corral is a sophomore quarterback this year. But, David, that defensive plan for Arkansas, it was like they had 16 or 17 guys out there on defense.
Yeah, so it's a real shame that Arkansas and Kentucky do not play this season because if they played it, the point total that Vegas put on that one might be 17. I mean, it would be ridiculous because those 2 defenses that have combined for I don't even know, but I mean, just from playing Mississippi State alone, they racked up some serious interceptions. Arkansas's defense again looked awesome against Ole Miss. Kentucky's defense picked off, Tennessee quarterbacks 3 times in the first half, ran 2 of them back for touchdowns. Obviously Kentucky defense struggled a little bit against Ole Miss, but if you got the Kentucky defense that played against Mississippi State going up against the Arkansas defense that played against Ole Miss and Mississippi State, man, that would be a lot of fun. I've never actually desired to see those 2 teams play each other in football, just because there would be usually nothing appealing about that matchup. But I wish that one was on the schedule this year because what those teams have done at times defensively is pretty amazing in a season where it seems like offense is just completely taken over.
You did a story today on the CBS website about the lines of games, and the game with Alabama at Tennessee is 19.5. I was just trying hard to remember, what was the line in that game a year ago?
You know what? I'm not sure, but honestly,
it was
surprised
big.
that this one wasn't bigger, given the fact that, I mean, Alabama just beat Georgia by 17. You know,
but it's at Neyland.
Yeah, well, I mean that's true. I mean, Tennessee just lost. I mean, you know, I think Vegas, I guess, cooler heads prevail there because their livelihood depends on it. So you know, they're taking the Tennessee season for its entirety. Which the fact is, you know, they got the job done against South Carolina and looked really, really good against Missouri, and they were leading Georgia going into halftime. I mean, really until the last 6 quarters of football, you thought, you know, maybe this Tennessee team is a dark horse to compete for the SEC, or at least to you know, finally get over the hump and finish ahead of Florida in the division or something. You know,
David,
it's really just the last 6 quarters that have been disastrous, and they've been as disastrous as any stretch of football, you know, I mean, that Tennessee's had in a really, really rough, you know, decade plus.
David, here's what scares me about Matt Corral and the performance Saturday, because go through this trend, this common denominator of Barry Odom. So opening day, he caused DeJuan Mathis to get benched and them to move on to Stetson Bennett. Week 2, he showed the blueprint on how to defend KJ Costello, and the tape's getting around. Week 3, he showed the blueprint for how to defend Bo Nix, and the tape got around to South Carolina. Now I fear that an old sage hand like Kevin Steele has been in that film room night and day watching that Arkansas film, and every coordinator after that for Ole Miss going, this is how you defend Matt Corral.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, you never can underestimate the number of tricks that Lane Kiffin has in his bag. But at the same time, I think the book is out there to a certain extent on what, you know, their MO is. And so, you know, it's going to be on Lane and Jeff Levy to continue to be innovative through the rest of this season. And Lane was absolutely right after the game on Saturday when he pointed to the fact that the Ole Miss defense, much overlooked in this game, actually played probably its best game of the season so far, which isn't saying much considering some of the defensive performances that they've had. But, I mean, there was progress in that regard. So, I mean, I think what we could be headed towards with Ole Miss is just sort of a balancing out of what was a really, really good offense in the early going and a really bad defense. I mean, I think we could be in a situation now where, you know, there's sort of an evening out there or a leveling out because you would hope that defense would improve over the course of the season. And, you know, like I said, I don't close the book at all on Lane Kiffin continuing to be innovative. I mean, I just think that the weapons that they have with early and, you know, just golly. I mean, I don't even think he's unlocked what John Rice Plumlee could add to that offense if they continue to struggle with Corral. And so I think there's another element there. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that Ole Miss has proven enough, even with some bad games, that, you know, I still think that they're going to exceed expectations and win 4 or 5 games, you know, which would be a really great first year for Kiffin.
Well, my question would be how much was Matt Corral just, for lack of a better term, discombobulated? When do you say, okay, this kid's shaken now, after the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th pick? I mean, that's the area, and you know, I didn't get to see the game, so I can't really tell you exactly what happened. It was on the same time Memphis was on. I've seen highlights, but and I know that they Plumlee is a different skill set. But at what point do you go, okay, this is not working here, we need to get him out?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would defer the stats on that, but what I can tell you about Lane Kiffin is that he is a great quarterback coach. I mean, again, I don't think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, but I flashed back to what he did at Tennessee with Jonathan Crompton. I mean, this was a guy who some would tell you got Philip Fulmer fired in 2008 with how poor of a quarterback he ended up being. I think it was actually the fact that they were trying to implement a new offense with Dave Clawson that just really didn't work. More so than Crompton being a terrible quarterback. But the fact is, the next season, Lane Kiffin came in and turned Jonathan Crompton into a player that got drafted. And it was one of the most remarkable turnarounds I've ever seen. And it's a perfect sort of stamp on the resume for what Kiffin does with the quarterback. So, I mean, they're going to have to get creative with Corral. I mean, they're going to have to try some different stuff. I think they need to give Plumlee a little bit of a run, if nothing else, just to keep defenses off balance. But I mean, they were never really out of that game. And so, I mean, I would assume that Lane
had the ball with 3 minutes.
Yeah, that Matt Corral gave him the best chance to win. And, the fact that he ended up with 6 interceptions, it's not ideal. But, hey, he's not the first quarterback in the SEC to throw 6.
Now,
I think KJ Costello had 6.
True.
Now, when I say this, I'm sure hoping this. I think Lane Kiffin, during the middle of it Saturday, I hope he's playing the long game to look back as a senior, and everybody gets this year back, or even as a fifth-year junior, and he's rolling and he's cooking, and you can look back and laugh and go, I didn't get scared of you with 6 picks in Fayetteville one day. Remember?
Well, Tennessee's trying the same thing with Jared Garantano. Hey, this is our guy. We're riding with him. So on and so forth. I think at some point, in a given game, you don't give up on a guy. You don't take his job from him, but you give another guy a shot. And, I know Plumlee can't swing it the way that Corral can, but he's so athletic and so nimble, and he forces the defense to adjust, quite a bit. And so, I think there's some merit there. I mean, look, Ole Miss, I don't need to tell Lane Kiffin to get creative. I mean, he'll do that on his own. I just think that I think that they were in that game. They thought Corral gave them the best chance to win. So I'll be curious to see what they do there going forward. But the fact is, until Saturday, he's been having a great season. And I don't think he throw it out completely. I'm way more concerned about the quarterback situations at Auburn, at Tennessee, at Mississippi State, where for 2 straight weeks they've had to bench KJ Costello and put in a true freshman in Will Rogers. Kentucky, its defense has been good, but Terry Wilson has not lived up, to the expectation. There are bigger SEC quarterbacking question marks in my mind than Ole Miss, without a doubt, even after the poor performance on Saturday.
Well, Mississippi State has a bye week this week, and Mike Leach just said the competition for the starting job is back. I would think he's seen enough now from Costello to know that he's got to give this other guy a shot. I would be surprised if the what's his name, Rogers, if he doesn't get the start in a couple of weeks. Last question, David Cobb, our friend from CBS. Memphis has the ability now, if they win out, to still get that slot in the New Year's Day 6 at the Peach Bowl this year. But Marshall is undefeated. So if you look at Marshall, I don't think they're going to lose a game if you look at their schedule, but it's not a great schedule. Mm-hmm. Would a one-loss American team trump, because it all comes down to the highest-rated champion in the polls, would that one-loss American team trump a perfect CUSA Marshall?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I've been impressed with Marshall. I kind of, appreciated what they've done. They got it done against Appalachian State. That was a quality win. But, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, nobody else in that league is even decent, really, that's left on their schedule.
Maybe UAB.
Yeah, and you're talking about going through the AAC with one loss. That's impressive. I mean, it's a deep league. It's got a lot of really good teams. I know SMU is banged up. I know UCF doesn't quite look like what it has been. But Navy, no slouch. Cincinnati's somehow in the top 10. Not sure about that one, but they are. But Memphis looks like the same old Memphis for the most part, even without Gainwell and Coxie. And so, a team like Tulane or Tulsa can sneak up on and get you on a given night as well. And so, I think the AAC is a really good league. I really do. And so I would hope that a one-loss team from the AAC would make it to that slot. And by the way, quick plug, by this time tomorrow, I'll have a 2,000-word AAC basketball preview story up.
Oh.
So I'll check that one out. It should be interesting. I hate that it didn't come out today. We could have talked about it some, but if you guys remember and want to talk about it next week, there's plenty to unpack there as well.
We will definitely do that. Have you unpacked what you think Memphis's non-conference schedule is going to look like?
I don't know what anybody's non-conference basketball schedule is going to look like. I don't even think they do at this point. It's wild. Hopefully they
right.
get some good ones in, though.
I think you're on the money with that one. As always, my friend, it's great chatting with you. Stay safe, and we'll do this again. We'll talk a little hoops next week, too, with David Cobb from CBS. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Our title sponsor for this hour of the program, you know, it is Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch and Genesis of Olive Branch. Same building, same people, 13 years they've all been together. And I think they have set the bar for the way the car business should be done. If you don't know, it all comes down to product to begin with, right? I mean, isn't that the first thing? You want a car that is terrific? Well, all I can say is Santa Fe and Elantra redesigned this year. Ward's named Sonata top 10 user experience of any car in America. Hyundai tied for the most number of top safety pick vehicles in 2020. And this technology beyond the safety is so durable. You get two things with every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai or Genesis of Olive Branch. A limited lifetime powertrain warranty up to 100,000 miles and a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package on every new Hyundai and every new Genesis. And, of course, then there's the pre-owns, and nobody will beat a Homer Skelton Hyundai in certified pre-owns. They got a warranty on those up to 100,000 miles, just like the new cars. And Auto Trader named Hyundai the best non-luxury certified pre-owned program. And in Memphis, it's the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership for 12 or 13 years in a row. Please go see why. Get on Lamar, get into Mississippi, first exit Craft Road, turn left, go see guys like Chris True, who put it all together, Ray Melton, who's over that certified pre-owned car dealer package. Please go see these guys, and you'll understand why they are so good. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll talk a little bit more about the college football weekend. This is Sports Time on Sports 56.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Jeep Adventure Days and Ram Power Days are rocking at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on Covington Pike. And guess who's got #1 ranked brand in initial quality and driver appeal among mass market brands? We Gossett! 2020 Jeep Cherokee Latitude IIHS top safety pick. $21,560 or $275 a month. Or get muscle with 2020 Dodge Challenger XST with best in-class cargo volume. $24,348 or $314 a month. Plus get Ram tough in a 2020 Ram 1500 Classic Crew Cab 4x2. We Gossett at $388 a month. Drive past the rest. Come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat 1901 Covington Pike. Online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Ranked by J.D. Powers IQS and Appeal Studies, all 75 months at 4.11 APR, 3,500 down, must finance through Chrysler Cherokee, LD 643160, MSRP 28,190, Challenger LHS 214,740, MSRP 31,180, Ram LG 293,29, MSRP 37,855, includes all rebates and incentives. Key of 695 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/1/2020 with approved credit dealer stock only.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That means you can get up to a $25 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of your Superstart battery. Return power, performance, and reliability to your car, truck, motorcycle, and more with Superstart batteries. Only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Looking for some action on your favorite games? Action247.com is at your service. Action 24/7 free-to-play games are brought to you by Tennesseans for Tennesseans. Come play with us online at Action247.com. Our free-to-play games are fun and easy. Go to Action247.com and click Let's Play. And best of all, you can win cash prizes. That's right, cash prizes. Free to play online at Action247.com. You got action.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in halfway through the Monday edition of the show. Memphis, by the way, has been established in the game against Temple as a 13.5-point favorite, which seems about appropriate considering the way Temple, I think, is playing this year. So that is an 11 o'clock game, and we found out today also that the University of Cincinnati game up in the Queen City will also be an 11 o'clock game. This week's game is a ESPN Plus. How do you go from ABC to ESPN Plus? I don't know how that happens, but they have done that.
You get Temple on the schedule.
And
well, that Temple game was a
think
great game
quality
last
inventory, though. Yeah, Drew, I know where you're coming from, but I think pretty quality inventory, and it leads me right into this. I think there are at least 4 really good American teams, at least 4.
All right, who are they? They're
maybe
Memphis,
more.
Memphis and UCF. I think those are both pretty good teams.
Cincinnati,
SMU. SMU. I'm going to throw Tulsa in there, and we'll see. That's an if.
Are we ready to write off UCF?
Well, no, I'm not. I think UCF's going to win a lot of games because you can't stop them, especially
I do too.
if they allow that
too.
scheme where they can block while the ball's in the air on a pass to the side.
Houston's kind of the mystery team, aren't they?
Well, I was going to say I thought Houston would be in that mix, and they did not play well against BYU. And BYU.
Now, don't hold me to 4 or 5 teams in 4 or 5 weeks, because then we will have more evidence of where the year's going. We'll have a bigger body of work. Right now in the SEC, how many good teams do you think there are?
Well, I think there's no question Georgia and Alabama, even with the Georgia loss, is a really good football team.
I'm with you. After that, though, a lot of teams with
Florida
as the first number.
A lot of mediocre.
Florida 2-1, Kentucky 2-2, Tennessee 2-2, South Carolina 2-2, Arkansas 2-2, Auburn 2-2.
Auburn
a lot of twos in there.
Auburn should be 1-3. Arkansas beat Auburn in my mind. That was just blown by the referees.
Auburn very easily could be 3-1. They very easily could be 0-4.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in the SEC.
I don't think they're a really good team.
Have we bought into Jimbo yet?
I think
I haven't.
The verdict is still out on that. But that was a big win.
It was a good win. It sure was. It was a good win over Florida, and a good win on the road at State.
It was the big win that he was looking for. State is in flux. I think State we developed expectations because they beat LSU
one game
when it was the opening game, and we had no idea that LSU, especially on defense, is as bad as it is. So
in the SEC West, after Alabama, the trust factor is probably bigger for Arkansas than anyone else. And that's a team that went into the season with a 19-game streak.
Well, let's see. I believe I picked Arkansas in our little preseason deal to go 1-9 with the one win.
You picked Arkansas to beat Ole Miss preseason. You and Drew both did. So I lose one there.
That was
Drew, the well-known Tennessee hater, picked Kentucky over Tennessee, so he gained 1 on both of us there. He leads me by 2 and you by 1.
That's the only win that I had for Arkansas this year, and I don't think that'll be the case. I think, for instance,
I had
at
none.
home they will beat LSU. If I have to say right now,
we're not going to do it right
Tennessee
now.
at home?
If we did W's and L's the rest of the way, they wouldn't resemble the September picks.
No, but I think that you may be right about that. That other than Alabama, would you trust Arkansas over Auburn? Yeah, because they should have beaten them. The refs blew that one. LSU, well, I think we know LSU is not going to be the 9-1 I picked them. Mississippi State? No, I think they're better than Mississippi State. I know they're better than Ole Miss because they just beat them. And then I don't know about A&M. A&M might be the other team because they did beat what I still think is a good Florida team. So I'm going to say that I would trust A&M ahead of Arkansas at this point, but I would put Arkansas at this moment as the third best team in the West.
All right, open date for A&M this week, open date for Arkansas this week as well. Then they play in College Station, not at Jerry's World, where they've been playing the Southwest Conference Classic for a while, or the Southwest Classic for a while. It's on campus at Kyle Field, and A&M sure likes that. They would much prefer that game to be on campus instead of it in Jerry's World in Arlington. Arkansas, the other way. They prefer it to be there rather than at College Station, but I think they both want to get it on campus. And in a few years, the future schedules, they have it there. Dave, on Friday night, I was around some Arkansas friends, mixed crowd, Arkansas and Ole Miss, and they know they got the right guy. They know they got the right guy in Sam Pittman. He gets them, they get him. Also on Friday night, I had a girlfriend of mine from college, just friend. And I mean, we are old friends. You know what she had the gall to tell me?
I'm afraid to ask.
She said I look better in a mask.
Oh, I think that was a shot. I hate to tell you.
She said
that was a shot.
Or just sounds like a true friend.
Well, I guess.
My true friends always tell me I have a face for radio, so I get it.
She said, I think the mask makes you look better.
Well, Brett,
coming from you, I know that's sincere.
I don't think that is the case. I think.
Thank you, Dave. Dave's been there for me, Drew.
He's got big shoulders.
You need to drop that, girl.
No, just friends.
Put her in the rear view. That's what I would say to you.
We were always just friends. I mean, I had desires of it being more than friends. It never entered her mind. And she was smart for that too. So maybe she's smart and accurate on the looks. But all kidding aside, the Razorbacks are so excited with Sam Pittman, and you could see the respect that Lane Kiffin had for him after the game. I mean, went straight to him, hand out, cordial, both of them good sports, because if he wanted to, and their fans wanted it, and I can't blame them an ounce with everything they've been through. They wanted more.
If I can go, let me finish that thought and our discussion on the SEC with this, and that is when the hirings were made, and you had Leach, and you had Kiffin, and you had Sam Pittman. I don't think there was
and Eli Drinkwitz off one loss at App State.
Yeah, well, that's true, and he had some pizzazz because of what he had done there, and he was a name that was mentioned for a couple of years at big jobs. So he had a little bit more star power, but nothing like Kiffin or Mike Leach. And so of those hires, you would have said, well, Arkansas kind of had to settle. They got a guy that has no pizzazz whatsoever, but maybe he fits that.
Yeah.
That was sort of what we were saying. I don't think anybody's going to terrible hire, but
hadn't even been a coordinator, been an offensive line coach.
When you're looking at guys that bring pizzazz to the table, notoriety, excitement. That wasn't Pittman, but you'd have to say at this moment right now, he's the best of the hires.
I think it's clear cut.
Yeah,
absolutely clear cut. And now with all the schedule changes, Florida will play this week. No, I'm sorry. Florida has open date this week again, so 2 weeks in a row off. But then the scheduled open date on Halloween before the cocktail party, they will play Mizzou. So you got to check your local listings on the schedule.
It's all going to change.
It's really different. But Dave, I think it's a 4 or 5 team AAC and about a 2 or 3 team SEC.
Well, so Georgia, Alabama. I guess you got to throw A&M in there still. I'm not going to dismiss Kentucky because, as you said, Kentucky could be 4-0, and sometimes it takes a minute, and you don't have those warm-up games that you had because you're playing your conference the whole way through. I still say, and we'll know more, but I think Kentucky has a chance to be a really good team. And so I'm going to go
6-4
I'm going to
preseason.
say that we'll go. It's 5 teams that are solid. With
You trust the Kentucky quarterback
A&M
play.
and Alabama. I don't know. I sort of trust their scheme.
I like that. I'm with you there. I like Eddie Grand's scheme, but I don't know about the engineer of it. So they've had a scheduling flip-flop. They were supposed to play Georgia this week. That goes to next week, and Missouri from next week to this week. So they travel 2 weeks in a row. They went to Tennessee and won, and they go to Como and play this week.
As far as the AAC goes, well, here's what I'll say, that I don't think South Florida's a good team. I don't think East Carolina's a good team. I don't think Navy is that good a team, although they're 3-0 in league play. But
number one in the American right now.
I know. That the only reason they're number one is because of the teams that they have thus far played. I think when they start playing the better teams, I don't think they've got it this year. I really don't. I mean, this is a
Tulane.
Navy. This is a Navy team
Where
that's
are we
given
on
up
Tulane?
171 points. Here's where I'm at with Tulane. Tulane and Willie Fritz. Willie Fritz, I love the guy. You know that. But I
do
think
too.
I think reality is hit. I don't think Willie Fritz is a great coach. I see him make more mistakes at end of games and give stuff away. He gave away the Navy game earlier this year. He had his chances this past week. Who did they play this week?
SMU. Lost 37-34.
Absolutely could have won that football game in regulation. He figures out ways, or his teams do, to lose games down the stretch. The one game he played great was against Memphis a couple of years ago. I loved him. I thought he was really good, but I've yet to see him win a major game of consequence, and I've watched him blow several games. I now am of the opinion, until he proves me wrong, that he's an overrated guy.
They're great at horseshoes. They're real close.
Yeah.
Real quick, I do want to ask this about a semi-high hard one. Have we been giving Tulane too much credit over the last few years with Willie Fitz, because he's finally got them from a bottom tier, below average team to just an average team? So we decided to give him too much praise for that?
Well, and that could be. And look,
Probably so.
he also has, one hand tied behind his back, because they do have tougher qualifications to get into Tulane, and they keep those things up. So he doesn't have quite the same level field on recruiting that some other schools do. And because he's, we have this perception that he's not a bottom feeder, that we've given him a whole lot of credit. But you know what? He's sitting at 0-3 right now in the league.
That's it, and that's what we towed up, isn't it? Eventually you are what they're. And Drew, I think you were right in your assessment that it's kind of been a little bit of partiality from where they were, but now where they're going, are they going to get there? And I think the rest of the Tiger schedule is double, not brutal. I starting this Saturday against Temple, and then roadie at Cincinnati, a little easier against USF. But road trip to Navy, what's the weather going to be like that day? We know the offense Navy's going to run. If the weather's not perfect, it's conducive to them. Then Stephen F. Austin, and then at Tulane to end the year. I hope by then Tulane has tossed the towel a little bit, but he does not seem like a quitter.
No, he does not, but I don't think that's a good team. I'm going to give you I don't think Navy's a good team, even though they're sitting at 3-0, and I think Memphis.
But up there, Dave, road.
Well, that
haven't won in Annapolis.
They've never won in Annapolis. I hate to say it, but Mike Norvell gave a game away with the way
this
he
may
played.
be the year to end the Nevers.
Oh, that's true. But I think we know this. We know SMU's a good team. We know Cincinnati's a good team. We know Memphis is a good team, and I still think UCF is a good team and will beat a bunch of people. I don't know about Temple, because they've only played 2 games. I probably don't know enough about Houston because they've only played 2 games, and they won the one conference game. And the truth is we need a little bit more body of work from poor Tulsa. But Tulsa, to me, going back to last year and a quarterback that's pretty good and a physicality about them, I think they're a good team. So there's 6. Of course, like you say, it'll get whittled down in a few weeks, but there's 4 or 5 really good teams in the American. I'm with you on that. I'll let you know this portion of the show brought to you by The Butcher Shop. That is Hamburger Friday, but there's a lot more. There's Sunday brunch. There's steaks every night. Their famous salad, their famous bread, by the way, baked potato, unbelievable touch and service. Here's the thing. They are still doing curbside. If you would like to go get a banquet, they'll do it curbside for you. But what you might not realize is the cavernous space that they have inside the Butcher Shop. Party rooms, private rooms. It's amazing. In fact, most people don't realize their party rooms are large enough for tables of 6 with 6 feet distancing, and you could still have groups from 20 to 40, and you would meet all of the Shelby County Health Department guidelines. I'm not kidding. It's really big inside, and they've got those big party rooms. Go see for yourself. Don't forget Hamburger Friday. Not only do they do it inside, but if you're afraid to go in, we understand, they'll bring even Hamburger Friday out to you curbside. They're still going on. The steak night, the brunches, the Hamburger Friday, inside or out. But I do want to stress to you, there's probably not a bigger restaurant inside space that can do spacing, social distancing, like the Butcher Shop, right there at Walnut Grove and Germantown Road in the Agri Center. Back in just a minute, and at this time, we will tell you who won the weekend and who gets the extreme overreactions. That comes your way in a minute.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Zane. Weekday mornings from 7 till 10 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Election Day is November 3rd. If you plan to vote by mail, plan ahead at usps.com/votinginfo. There you will find helpful resources, such as guidance for successfully using the mail, links to find your state's rules and deadlines, information for military and overseas voters, and more. The U.S. Postal Service is ready to deliver for you. Make sure you're ready too. Start today at usps.com/votinginfo.
Good news. Southland Casino is now back open. That's right. The most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is ready to welcome you back to the action with live blackjack, roulette, craps, and all your favorite slots. The action kicks off every day at 9 a.m. and rolls all the way till 5 o'clock the next morning. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make the short drive to Southland. We're ready for you. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Oh, my stomach.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews. The same fast relief of Pepto-Bismol, now in a delightful chew.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Election Day is November 3rd. If you plan to vote by mail, plan ahead at usps.com/votinginfo. There you will find helpful resources, such as guidance for successfully using the mail, links to find your state's rules and deadlines, information for military and overseas voters, and more. The U.S. Postal Service is ready to deliver for you. Make sure you're ready too. Start today at usps.com/votinginfo.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
So who won the weekend in college football? And in the pros, well, I can tell you this. I think there were two who won the weekend in college football. I think the Tigers, by getting rid of the jinx, finally making it a true rivalry by beating UCF and keeping all of their hopes alive to get into the New Year's Day 6 slot. I think they won it, and I think Alabama won it too, because it's clear Alabama is the best team in the SEC. Georgia's probably the second best team, and they shut them down in the second half. And if you're thinking who was more impressive this week, the two best teams in college football, I think without a question, you maybe throw in Ohio State later, we'll see, but it's Clemson and it's Alabama. Did the 73 that you saw from Clemson outweigh what Alabama did against Georgia? Not in my mind.
Not in mine, because of the opponent. My winner of the college football weekend, it was a guy that has been knocked around, and I don't get it at all. 34 of 50, that's easy percentage. That's 68%. 6 touchdowns, 486. That's 14 shy of half 1,000. It's Brady White.
He really was terrific. And now, if we're looking at just legacy, you think about this. He had the drive that won the championship game against Cincinnati, and now he's got this 75-yard drive too. The dude is cool under pressure. I know he turned the ball over the week before that, yes. In trying to make a play, sometimes things happen. But for the most part, the way this guy engineers and checks out of plays into correct plays, he is unbelievable.
Real quick, because of our timing, right now, if his career ended right now, we don't want it to, but if it stopped right now, the one-sentence introduction of Brady White through the years, what would it be? Former Tiger Brady White, what would it be?
Who became the first professor to play college football.
Drew?
One sentence to wrap up all the 3 years here. Better than he was treated. Or better than he was
Mine
treated.
is, led a team to the Cotton Bowl. The Cotton Bowl.
That's true. But if he comes back next year, he'll be the first guy who's ever a professor who played. That's what I think.
But if he tops the Cotton Bowl, you got it something good. Who won the weekend in the NFL for you, Dave? Or Drew, I'm sorry. Who's your college guy?
No, it's fine. It's cool. My winner from the weekend got to be Mike Norvell getting that monkey off his back.
Nice.
Fan base actually really, really not liking him and all the turmoil that they had between him and some of his players in the preseason to get a top 5 win, regardless of whether it's against North Carolina. Got to be a winner there just to finally have some breathing room for him.
And gives them the hope that he brought in when he first came. My winner for the NFL weekend are the Steelers and the Titans, who remain undefeated. And then there's the Bears, who used an ancient strategy called defense. 3 turnovers, 4 sacks, and a winner on the road. You realize the Bears have not lost on the road this year?
Drew?
My winner from the weekend got to be the Tennessee Titans. 5-0 for the first time since 2008 when they started the season off 10-0, and only the second time in team history. Tannehill, obviously, great day, 4 touchdowns, and Derrick Henry over 200 yards on the ground. They could probably keep it going next week against Pittsburgh.
My winner, and I only had one from the weekend, as the segment should be, the team I picked to win the Super Bowl, my 5-0 Steelers.
I contest your allegation that that's the way it's supposed to be. These are objective things, just so you know. My overreaction, college football, offenses win national titles.
Oh, no, because you saw what the Alabama defense did in the second half. My college football extreme overreaction, Sam Pittman, National Coach of the Year. Heck with just this SEC stuff.
That actually could be, though.
My overreaction, what the heck is Syracuse doing? Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Donovan McNabb, they ain't walking through that door. They need to follow UConn suit and just join the Big East. Give up on football. Play independent if you want, but the stuff that they're trotting out there is just ridiculous. And to the one team that they beat this year, Georgia Tech, give it up as well.
And Drew, do you and Dave, do y'all remember a few years ago when Dino Babers engineered the upset over Clemson? It was a great win, big upset, and the post-game locker room speech went viral immediately. And every blue check mark on Twitter, come on, SEC, there's your guy you should hire, but we know why you won't. You remember that garbage?
Yeah, I do.
Come on, it was one win for Dino Babers. It was impressive, but had to immediately go to that stereotype, and you know exactly what they were meaning then. That is just irresponsible to be that perpetually stupid.
He has honestly been very disappointed.
He's done nothing.
I thought he was on the way to doing something, but it has not worked out at all for Syracuse.
But all the blue check marks. I mean, hire Dino Babers, SEC. That's who you should be finding out more about. And you know, let him do something. First of all, my NFL extreme overreaction. Ryan Tannehill should be MVP.
My extreme overreaction is New England is now 2-3. They can't win without Tom Brady. It was really him, not Bill Belichick.
You're writing the obituary on Bill Belichick in New England?
There you go.
I love it. Drew?
I'm seconding it. Always knew it was that Brady guy, the GOAT himself, that had everything to do with winning those 6 championships. Brady beats a former MVP 38-10, and Bill Belichick can't beat a terrible Drew Lock and the Broncos. Are you kidding me? It's always been the GOAT.
Dave, I'm going to double down. I'm going to pull a U. I'm going to go with 2 more extreme NFL reactions and go New England and go New England. It was none of that. It was really Gotti and it was really Gronk.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. That's great. Those are your winners. Those are your overreactions. It's brought to you by Conway. Did you notice your water heater not heating as well as it did last winter during cold winter months? We've had a few of those. We've had a few cold days anyway, nights. The groundwater gets colder. It requires more energy to heat the water. And a lot of times now you find out your old system has become inefficient. It can't keep up. It's time for a tankless from the experts at tankless water heaters. That would be Conway Services. You know, those tankless water heaters never run out of hot water. And now's the perfect time for a new tankless because John will give you 12 months interest free, or he'll give you $250 for that old tank water heater. Plus these energy saving models, well, they only heat the water you use, so you save money on your gas bill every month. No more worrying about the tank bursting in your attic either, because guess what? There is no tank. This is new technology. It's the best, and the place to get it, the best place, is Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. Just call 384-3511, 384-3511, the number for Conway. 2 hours in the books. Back in a minute, we'll talk more about this epic Tiger win with the beat writer from the Commercial Appeal on Tiger football. That would be Evan Barnes. He comes your way in a minute.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
One thing I really admire about Central Barbecue is their commitment to quality.
Then why do they let you do their commercials?
I'm talking about their food. Everything is prepared with devotion to taking the time and effort to create perfect barbecue.
Oh, I know. That's exactly why I was wondering why...
They're not kidding with that slow-smoked Memphis-style slogan. They smoke their pork for 14 hours. Do they have to? They do if they want to be the best barbecue in Memphis, and they are.
And yet they let you just throw together...
There's nothing better than Central Barbecue because they care.
Except apparently about their radio ads.
In today's world, a lot is going on, but one thing is always true. You need to take care of yourself. The skin clinics can help. Age, diet, genetics, and current events can conspire to make you look and feel much older than you are. It doesn't have to be that way. Call the skin clinics and let their expertly trained nurses, estheticians, and staff choose the treatment that best suits you and your pocket. There's so much you can do. Consider skin resurfacing and rejuvenation, lash extensions and specialty brows, injectables, medical grade chemical peels, laser hair reduction, waxing, facials, makeup applications, and even services just for men. The Skin Clinics has it all in a caring, safe environment, always observing current social distancing guidelines. Go to theskinclinic.com to find out more and call today for your appointment at 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-SKIN. Taking care of yourself is good for you and your loved ones. Come to the Skin Clinics, 1300 Wolf Park Drive in Germantown.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253 DF Memphis, WPGFLP Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
The very talented Evan Barnes from the Commercial Appeal. He will join us to talk about that shootout on Saturday, one that will be talked about around here, well, forever. And now, hey, Tennessee, sports betting, it's almost here. You'll be able to talk about that when you get that FanDuel Sportsbook app, and they're giving you an exclusive offer to get started right now. You can be playing these NFL games, all the college stuff, all the basketball that's coming up, the World Series, and right now FanDuel Sportsbook giving users $50 in free bets just for signing up. You heard that right. They're giving you $50 in free site credit to register and verify early. No deposit required. FanDuel, America's #1 sports betting site, for a reason. They've got odds on all the biggest sports in a simple, intuitive app that makes it easy to find the bet you're looking for, then lock it in. I love it. Loved watching the NFL yesterday with my FanDuel Sportsbook app. And unlike other sports books, once you win, FanDuel, they get you your cash in as little as 24 hours. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. But right now, the right thing for you to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and check out their fantastic app for yourself. Just be sure to sign up and register using promo code CASH so they know we sent you. When you verify your account, you'll receive $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook goes live. That's promo code CASH to get $50 in site credit when FanDuel Sportsbook is live. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable, expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. Final hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales down at 5704 Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. Check them out online at DeSotoAutoSales.com and look at all the cars and look at all the referrals from repeat after repeat customer at DeSoto Auto Sales. No shortcuts taken there, though. You walk in, you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. But they do care about your time and want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we're living in a world today that time matters. You walk in, you find the car you want, deal with your sales rep, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, all in 45 minutes in time to do it over your lunch hour or immediately after work. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. DeSotoAutoSales.com, 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. They've got time to sell you a car right now if you head down to Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales. Come on down for that town and country experience.
The town's still buzzing about the Tigers game with the UCF. We have a group lock, right? Kansas City? Figures.
Yes.
Chiefs losing 10-7.
Yes, we do, but they just scored.
Oh, they just did. So now they should lead 14-10 if they make an extra point. It's going to be a heck of a game. About 5 minutes left to go in the first half. In the meantime, in all of my days, I will never see another game that has 1,500 yards and 99 points, probably. I can't imagine I'll ever see that. Evan Barnes has been in this business a long time, too. He is the beat writer for the Commercial Appeal of the University of Memphis football program. Evan Barnes, did you think you'll ever see anything like this again?
I was thinking about it after the game. Like, I mean, I've covered some crazy high school games. Obviously, that SMU game was phenomenal last year, but this one's up there as far as memorable games that I've seen in my career that I've covered personally. I mean, I was probably still high off of that game Sunday morning, just kind of like processing and doing my usual routine of, checking my stories, watching the game again, posting some more stories. Like, I still can't believe we watched that. I still am in disbelief that game really happened.
And so many angles to it, Evan, and I'm glad, and unfortunately, and we have him on a lot, and he's a good friend of all of ours. Matt Murschel he was trying to do a game story. Did you see the faux pas that ran in the Orlando paper?
Oh no, I didn't. What happened?
Well, it ran that UCF had won, but he had filed the story as y'all have to do, kind of a little early, but a copy editor, hit send and it ran when actually it didn't. I mean, it was a little bit of Dewey beats Truman, but that kind of game is easy for that to do because you're trying to get ahead of a deadline, and then so many things can happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a game literally where I was scrambling and rewriting my story multiple times. I had already had a lead I was going to go with, and I had kind of written it earlier when Memphis was down by 21, and I was kind of praying in my head, like, this is really good. I think people may hate me for it, but they might like it. But when something like that happens, you're scrambling to rewrite, and hopefully you get something in that's presentable. And so I feel bad for Matt. Obviously, Matt is a phenomenal writer, and that happens. But I don't blame him because, honestly, I had to scramble to rewrite. I probably had some stats wrong in my first draft, but, I mean, it's understandable. That game was
he's taking it better than anybody. He really has.
No.
He laughed at it. He tweeted out yesterday, he said, when a mistake happens, that your name is on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've all been there. I mean, I've had to account for certain things, that it's part of the business, right? We all, we hold people accountable for various reasons, but when you got something like that, you got to just take it and wear it. And I don't blame him because, I mean, honestly, if I didn't look over my story closely in that panic, I probably would have had a big mistake too.
The bottom line is there were so many different aspects to this game with all the numbers. You're talking 1,502 yards and 99 points and 75 first downs, and Memphis was 5 of 5 on fourth down conversions, and they're doing crazy things like they're down 35-14. They come back, and instead of making it 35-21, he goes for 2. What? Where did that come from? And his explanation is, we were there to win the game. That's why we did it. I mean, he did a lot of unorthodox things in this football game. I'll go back to something that Brett asked me. What was your mindset when it was 35-14?
Honestly, I thought the game was over. I'll be perfectly honest. I thought the game was over. Like I said, I'd already written a kind of a lead that I kind of went with. I'll keep that to myself unless maybe
I was
one
just
day
going to ask you, what was it?
Come on, Evan, just among buddies. Come on now.
Well, I'll just say it was going to relate to honoring Isaac Bruce and UCF kind of basically honoring him more, looking like the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
Running up and down the field. It had something to do with that, but
that's a good lead.
It would have been it would have been perfect. Memphis wouldn't have loved it, like I said, but it fit. UCF was literally running down the field. They had that 85-yard pass play. They had that 43-yard play at the time. So with the 21-point deficit, I'm thinking there's no way Memphis is going to pull out. And you have to give Ryan Stillfield this credit. He said they were playing for 2 to win the game. The math, the analytics supported it, but he also was like, look, I want you guys to believe, talking to his team, I want you guys to believe that I believe we can win this game. I want you to believe and understand why. And imagine if you're a player on the sidelines, you're wondering, why are we going for 2? But Stillfield comes up to you and says, this is why we're doing it. We believe we can win this game. You're like, all right, let's go. I mean, you need any kind of confidence going up against that behemoth of an offense that's UCF. And I think it showed again to me, and thinking about it now, it showed why Ryan Stillfield is a player's coach, because that's a decision you make when you believe in your players and you're like, look, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, I'll wear it. But you know what? I believe in my guys. And, you saw their confidence build, and it's like, okay, here we go. So I didn't think it was going to happen, but you have to give Memphis credit for not backing down, not wilting. They scored touchdowns, I think, on 5 or 6 possessions in the second half. I mean, that was basically probably, a great sign for them, and also exposed how bad that UCF defense was too.
Yeah,
Evan, so much of modern football now is when you're on the offensive side, both teams, you can't swing and miss. You got to get some points out of it, don't you?
Absolutely, and you think about this. Memphis, like I said, Memphis scored touchdowns on 5 of 6 possessions to end the second half. UCF was 3 of 6. I'm looking at it again right here, and they had that fumble inside the goal line. So literally, those small mistakes, whether it was the fumble that Rodney Owens recovered or Memphis forcing a 3 and out, those were the difference, because UCF still put up 49 points and nearly 800 yards of offense, but one little thing gave Memphis the game. And it's crazy, like you said. We this era of football now where it's basically the team who has the ball last and scores the most points, just keeps putting up points until the end. That's how it goes now. But I mean, it really is strange thinking about how one play, like Rodney Owens forcing a fumble or Cameron Jackson blocking that PAT, changed the game.
Right. And going for the 2 and making the 2 a couple of times in the game. Also, when it just didn't seem like you would do that, and that was a part of it. And then again, the other lesson is, and I think I've known this lesson for a long time, because I think special teams are important. I would always give kickers and punters, I would give them scholarships. But Memphis lost the game last week to that kid Nagar from SMU who hit the field goal, and this kid who they don't, I guess, have a lot of faith in, or they just score so many points. He had a good enough leg where he was kicking the ball into the wind out of the end zone, but he the longest kick he'd had all year, and he was 4 of 5, was 33 yards. So, you had this feeling it could happen that he could miss that kick.
Yeah, I mean, everything happened so fast. I mean, honestly, I didn't realize they were lining up for the field goal. I'm thinking, okay, they're going to take a shot at the end zone, and then wait, that's right, they're up by 1, so Memphis is up by 1, so they could go for the field goal. I mean, you just looked at it and it just seemed so rushed. It seemed so quick, and you're just like, okay, this is how it ends. And I was in story mode. I'm like, if he makes this, I got to scramble on how to rewrite my story. But then when he missed it, I was just kind of like, wow, like this game needed one more dose of crazy. And it kind of reminded me of the Tulsa game last year, where Tulsa drove down the field on Memphis. You're thinking to yourself, well, Tulsa's going to hit a field goal. Goodbye, all the dreams that Memphis had this year, and goodbye all the hype for that SMU game. The kicker missed. Deja vu here. The kicker missed, and Memphis gets to celebrate, one of the most improbable games probably we'll see in Memphis history.
And just like that Tulsa comparison from last year, Evan, in anything, anybody's special year, you have to have a little good fortune, and the Tigers had it. The defensive woes. I asked Dave this earlier. I want your take on it. Are they fixable, or is it just a personnel issue that can only be fixed through recruiting?
I'm not 100% sure, and we're probably going to be grilling Mike McIntyre on it this week when we have availability with him. But I looked at some numbers. So Memphis has faced 3 of the top-rated offenses in the country. So they face UCF, they face SMU, and Arkansas State, right? So they've been tested. Yeah, UCF number 1, SMU's 4, Arkansas State's 11. So they face 3 of the top offenses in the country. Part of it you want to blame is that, but at the same time, the secondary looks really, really, they're making plays when they need to, but it's a really, really tough go when you see the secondary give up big plays so often. I mean, I think that's something that's just got to be fixed with coaching, because you have to find a way to coach. Like, look, you're not going to slow down a lot of these modern offenses right now, but you can make some stops. You can be disciplined and making sure you don't let the big plays happen as much. So I think that's got to be fixed. But on the flip side, Memphis's run defense is really, really good. So it's almost kind of like, what do you take with this Memphis team? Do you take the fact that they're stopping the run, or they're giving up the pass? So it's something you hope can get fixed with coaching. Obviously, last year Memphis did a much better job defensively than they had in the previous, 3 years under Mike Norvell, but you have to hope it gets fixed because Memphis can't afford to, compete seriously for an AAC championship with a defense like that. I mean, granted, they did it a few years ago where their defense wasn't great and they still made the AAC title game, but they're going to need to get some stops and they're going to need to fix that if they want to go further in the season.
Along your lines about the offenses, Mike McIntyre said to us in our prep on Thursdays before the game that he felt like the three best quarterbacks they were going to probably see all year were going to be these first three. So that point is well taken, and then the numbers bear that out. In Arkansas State had two good quarterbacks. So, and you look where they rate and what their productivity is, and you're right, you're not going to see that with Temple this week. They do not have the firepower that those three had. And your point well taken about the run defense. And I think if you look at Memphis as a whole, I think they're decent up front. I think between O'Brien Goodson and Dorcius, they have enough athleticism, and Morris Joseph's starting to play now too. You have enough guys up front that help you. You're not deep at linebacker because Tim Hart left, but J.J. Russell has been very effective when he's able to play. I think you're okay at linebacker. There's enough that go across there that you're fine. I think your problem's in the secondary, and you've got a guy in Carter who's seriously got a hamstring issue. He couldn't play this week. He did not look good against SMU. When Robertson was going crazy, they were picking on T.J. Carter now, and that was not the same guy we saw as a freshman or early in his sophomore year. So I think if you're looking at issues, I think it's in the secondary. And, Broussard is a decent player. Francis is a decent player. Carter's decent when he's healthy. But you don't have depth there, and I'm not sure you've got enough athleticism in that particular area.
Yeah, and I mean, you're also, forgot to mention one more thing is they don't have Londre Thomas, who was an excellent safety as far as his athleticism. Now, Quindell Johnson has played really, really well, I want to give him credit for that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a case where the secondary, and I know Mike McIntyre told us against before getting ready for SMU, they were going to have to play multiple guys and teach them multiple positions when the outbreak happened because they were going to have to basically make sure guys were ready. So it's a lot. I mean, it really makes you wonder kind of how much, the Memphis defense can hold on when the secondary hasn't been as reliable. Now, granted, they did make some adjustments against SMU that I thought were important. Like I think was it Quindell who had the forced fumble, I think, in that SMU game. So, yeah, they can make adjustments, but, it's going to be really important for them to, make a statement this weekend against Temple to find a way to make sure if this offense, which is not great, goes off against Memphis, then they have a real problem. But I think this is also a chance for them to assert themselves and say, this is the way you can get back on track because you need this before you get ready for Cincinnati in 2 weeks because you know what that offense can do. We saw it last year when they kind of made Memphis work a little bit.
But I don't think the Tigers will face quite the potency the rest of the year that they saw Saturday in Dylan Gabriel and UCF. There's some good offenses, but I don't think there's anybody that's going to be approaching half 100 against the Tigers the rest of the way, is it?
No, and I'm looking at the schedule right now. Temple, no. Cincinnati's got Desmond Ritter, who Memphis fans will remember from the championship game, played well, but he's no Dylan Gabriel. He's not even Shane Buechele. Then you have UCF, no. Navy, we know what they're about with their triple option. Stephen F. Austin, no. Tulane, all respect to offensive coordinator Will Hall, but that offense does not look like it's still able to move the ball down the field with a true quarterback. And then obviously Houston, Clayton Tune has been there for 3 years. He's familiar with the offense, but that he's probably the best quarterback remaining on the schedule in terms of just what his ability is as far as passing goes.
I agree with that, yeah.
So I think there's a great chance for the secondary to get back on track and find ways to, not just, limit the passing game, but prove themselves as a group that, should be much better by the time they get to Houston. But again, it is going to be all about how much they, make a statement. If they're angry at these last 3 weeks, they need to show it in practice. They need to show it in these games. Obviously, you want, Carter to get healthy, but really all of them have to be able to, make a stand. Because even Carter last year, he was a little bit, he had a little bit of a down here. So you're hoping that this team can find a way to fix that situation, and they should have a great chance to do that come Saturday.
Well, they're going to play every team that I think will be a factor in the race here, with the exception of one, and that's Tulsa. And Tulsa could have a say in some of this. Don't forget, Tulsa was able to slow down the UCF attack, but UCF had 18 penalties in that game. They kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, no, I mean, this schedule is not favorable in terms of just, attrition-wise. Like, they're playing every week, unless anything happens with COVID relations or something, COVID issues or anything like that. They're playing every week until December, through December 5th. So it's going to be a case of, can Memphis stay healthy and can they, survive? Because honestly, like, we're asking a lot, of Memphis. Like, granted, maybe they, getting through an outbreak maybe helps them, avoid a second one. But health-wise, that's a lot to go after and try to, be able to survive and still play your best in December. So they have to stay healthy, and that's going to be where the luck factor comes in. But again, like you said, if they survive these next 4 games, Temple through Navy, they will be in good shape. But again, that Cincinnati game is going to be tough on the road. And if they think that they can just, granted, I know what the odds have said with Vegas, but they have Memphis up by 13. But if they look past Temple, they know they'll be in for a dogfight physically with them. So they have to make sure they survive these next weeks, because otherwise there will not be a repeat AAC title aim for them.
Evan, I think when this college football year is over, we're going to have so many January, February, March, into next year's stories about y'all just really didn't know what was going on, how limited in practice time, how few at times other than on game day, coaches really had their teams.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, we're all trying to figure that this is all one big experiment right now, I think. For good or for bad, you can say that. This is all kind of like, let's just get through and get to the end of the season. That's kind of what everyone's hoping for, right? Just get through, hope that it doesn't have too many landmines and what happens. And I think it's going to be really interesting what happens going forward. I mean, we see the Big Ten coming back, and if anyone thinks the Big Ten is going to get through their season without any COVID-19 issues, well, I would sell you some land on the ocean somewhere. Got some oceanfront property or something. But
and the other thing, just besides that uncertainty, is the guys who've opted out. Your main weapon besides Brady White was Kenny Gainwell, and he didn't play a snap. And then this news about your best receiver, Coxie, in the middle of last week. I mean, the fact that they had all these guys step up, from Ivory to Washington to Calvin Austin, who looked like the guy we thought he might be when he first decided to come. I mean,
Rodriguez Clark.
And Drake Clark. But Drake Clark actually has – the thing about Drake Clark for me is he plays really good first halves. He does not continue the production, and I don't know if that is conditioning or what it is. But he has stepped up. He's had 2 100-yard games, but I'm not sure you can count on him at the end of games.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like, I just realized that right now. That was an interesting note you brought there, Will. So I think it's going to be really interesting. But again, you give this offense credit. No Kenny Gainwell, no DeMonte Coxie, Antonio Gibson scoring touchdowns in the NFL. This offense is still humming along pretty well, and I think we're going to see what happens.
And a first-year head coach.
Right, a first-year head coach, an offensive coordinator who's calling plays for the first time in a few years. I mean, there's a whole lot of newness here, and Brady White is really the only constant. But you give us some credit. Like, they were able to make it work in this game, and I think going forward, we're going to see kind of how well they can do this. Now that they know, okay, Gainwell's not walking through that door. Coxie's not walking through that door. Can they keep this up and be consistent? Like I wrote today on my story, Javon Ivory is 6'2", but you have Todd Washington, who's 5'11", Austin, who's 5'9". That's a very interesting size ratio for your receiving core, but they show that they got heart and they got ability to make plays happen. And we know Calvin Austin's size. We know he's obviously got speed as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun watching this offense. But I think what also is going to happen is, can this group keep pulling it off? And if they do, if Memphis can get into the top 3 of the AAC, depending on what Cincinnati does, you may have to start thinking about Ryan Silverfield getting AAC Coach of the Year honors just because of being a first-year head coach, what he's done, keeping this thing going. Unless Cincinnati just completely runs the table and, stays in the top 10 the rest of the season, you got to look at Ryan Silverfield and say this is an outstanding job for a first-time head coach, considering all that has happened this year.
I don't disagree with that, but I think at this point you'd have to look at either Sonny Dykes or the guy at Cincinnati.
Luke Fickell.
Yeah, Luke Fickell. Those would be the two at this moment that would have half a step on Ryan. One last guy and one last thing for Evan Barnes, commercial appeal beat writer, who we have to have on a little bit more often. Love chatting with you, Evan. And that is, we have to tip our cap to Kevin Johns because he's the guy calling these plays, and I know he's involved with Ryan at game plan, but this guy with obviously the final decision is Ryan's, but these guys have some kind of courage to do the things that they're doing, and they come up with a lot of innovation.
They do, and I think Kevin Johns absolutely deserves it. I mean, you talk about a coach who has coached with Cliff Kingsbury, who's coached with some other great coaches, obviously Mike Norvell, the most recent, and what he's been able to do to put his own spin on this offense to still be able to, keep it explosive as of this past game, but also keep it humming along, keeping the balance, using Sean Dykes and turning him loose. I mean, there's a lot of things that you really like about what he's doing, and I think, it just speaks to just kind of how well his experience is, where he's like, look, we're not afraid to go for 2. We're not afraid to throw that shovel pass on, 4th and 3 to Todd Washington. Like, there are so many little wrinkles in this offense that you give Johns credit for, and he absolutely has earned it. And so I think going forward, I'll be really curious to kind of see kind of how he keeps developing and growing with calling plays. And Silverfield even said today he's got all the trust in him basically to do it, even on that last drive. He let, Johns called the plays. He had the final say, but he said, I'm going to stick to motivating my guys and say, hey, go make history. And it's a great partnership that just shows the level of trust that Silverfield has, and not just his players, but his coaches. So definitely Kevin Johns deserves a lot of credit for this past week.
Perfectly put, my friend. Thank you much. We'll do this again sometime
Thank
soon.
you, Evan.
Appreciate you guys. Y'all take care.
All right. That is Evan Barnes, commercial appeal beat writer for the Tigers, and he was doing the Grizzlies too. He is a man of many different talents. It's coming your way from the good folks at the Spirit Shop. Okay, weekend's over. You've got to restock up. I don't know. Is it wine? Is it beer? Is it bourbon? Is it tequila? Is it vodka? They've got it all. This perfectly located place right there at 4848 Poplar. That's Poplar and St. Nick's, right down the street a little bit from Clark Tower. You've passed it by. Looks like a little log cabin. Inside, it's got so much product, you'll be amazed. Please go in and see, just to see what spatial engineering is all about, and go talk to Eddie Connor or anybody in his family. They run the place. They've been doing it since 1969, taking care of folks when it comes to any kind of spirit. You want to go in and talk and get educated? He'll do that. You're looking for something special you can't find? He'll find it for you. Service beyond compare, and everything you need, from premium brands to bargains to any accessory when it comes to spirit, they've got it at the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. We take a timeout. When we come back, we'll do our Monday Night Football picking, and we'll give you the all-time great quarterbacks for the Arizona, St. Louis, Chicago Cardinals, and the Dallas Cowboys. They've only been in one place. That's in the big D the whole time. Back in a minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through lunch daily from 10 to 1.
Well, lunch is served.
Only on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
Jim Gray from Westwood One here with a Monday Night Football preview. Coming up, the Arizona Cardinals are in Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Dallas will be without team leader Dak Prescott following a season-ending ankle injury last week. First-year head coach Mike McCarthy.
I feel terrible for him. He was having a tremendous year. He's made such an impression on me, and he's clearly the leader of this football team. And I have no doubt that he'll bounce back from this and this will be part of his great story.
Backup Andy Dalton will take over under center for Dallas as they host Kyler Murray and the 3-2 Cardinals. Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner will have the call on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That means you can get up to a $25 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of your Superstart battery. Return power, performance, and reliability to your car, truck, motorcycle, and more with Superstart batteries. Only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's time for an upgrade. Beneath your feet, with beautiful, durable new carpet from the Home Depot. And right now, free installation. Choose from a wide selection of styles. Order samples. Schedule a measure and installation, all online. It's never been easier to have carpet you love, right where you live. For new carpet and free installation, only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Free installation on carpet $4.99 or more and 99 cents or more per square foot. U.S. only.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
They are at the half in Buffalo. Chiefs leading 13-10. That one will be a lot of fun to watch, and of course it'll be followed by the Arizona-Dallas game. We're going to pick that, and we're going to give you our top 4 quarterbacks for both teams here in a minute. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team, the group that takes care of you, whether it's personal or business. They do both. If you're looking for just a program that fits your needs and your budget, the Eflin Group is the perfect group. They sit you down, and they take into account what your needs are and what your budget will be, and they've got 10 leading companies to find the right fit for you. If it's that commercial business I'm talking about, mainly small to mid-sized businesses, they have virtually unlimited access to programs for that. And then I don't want you to forget about life insurance. They got you covered there as well with quotes from 15 well-respected companies. You never wonder if you've gotten a good deal because they search until they find the right one for you. Grant, Andrew, Heath, they're all standing by. They're ready to help you out if you make this call. 901-386-4777. That's 386-GER. 4677. They're big Tiger supporters. They take care of you the right way. They protect you with the Eflin Insurance Group.
We've got a lot of picks to make, but I want to tell you about Trucktober at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. I mean, they are loaded with all the new Silverados. Nobody has more new Silverado trucks than they have at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, and you get the Trucktober thousands in cash off the price, up to almost $5,000 in cash back. That's real money. $5,000. The holidays are on the way, and All-Star Chevy, they've got all the new 2020 Chevy SUVs and trucks with cash back deals in the thousands. New 3-row Traverse, the new Equinox. That's what I drove to Fayetteville and back, and it is so very nice. Impala or Malibu all come with thousands in Chevy cash back for you. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not Covington Pike, it's not Collierville or South Haven. It's got to be Olive Branch. Go down and see Drew or Scott or any of the great people at All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch. The certified pre-owned lot is full. Impalas, Malibus, Tahoes, and Suburban, and everyone, regardless of who it is, they've got one job at All-Star. Make sure you have more fun, get the best deal, and do it in record time. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy on Kraft Goodman Road or online at allstarchevyautogroup.com. That's allstarautogroup.com. Beat any dealer's ad price any day at All-Star Chevy, and the best financing for everyone.
All right, we've got to make our pick for the Arizona-Dallas football game. That is coming up here in a little bit. It is.
All right, I sent y'all
Dallas.
1.5, and it has bounced around. Y'all tell me what y'all want to do, because I want to win, but I do not want to win finessing the line or I don't want to be accused of point shaving for sure.
I don't think we can change. If we went with Kansas City at 3.5, we have to go with the original line, which was 1.5. What's it at now?
All right, that's Arizona 1.5 at Dallas, and Dallas is now 1 over Arizona, so it'd be 1.5 the other way. Y'all tell me what you want to do. I'll sort it out any way you want to do it.
I made my pick based on the 1.5 that Arizona was giving away. So,
why don't we split the difference and make it a pick 'em?
Because then, there's no then.
Yeah, I was about to say, too smart of an idea, right?
What do you want to do, Dave?
Well, I actually thought the line originally
What if they went to overtime and tied?
I think the line originally set at Arizona minus 1.5 is the right line, personally. I mean, Dallas is playing their first
All right, I'm taking
game.
Arizona. So I'm sure not thumb on the scale.
Well, I'm taking Dallas. So I'll take the 1.5.
You got them, Drew?
I'm going to go with the Cowboys as well. I don't have any real reason why, especially with backup Andy Dalton in there, but I just still can't fully buy into what Arizona's doing with Coach McDreamy and everything.
One thing, I can understand why you would take Arizona, Brett, because the Cowboys' defense has to be much better than it's been. But I'm banking on that, and I don't know why it is, but I think Andy Dalton is a really good guy, at least for a few games. And I agree with that, Dave. This is a real rallying call for the Cowboys, and we'll see if their new coach
can win that division. Arizona's not winning their division.
No, and Dallas can. Dallas can win that division under 500.
All right, Arizona, St. Louis, Chicago Cardinals. There's no Chicago Cardinals on any of these lists.
No.
The Dallas Cowboys, and great throw to break. They've been at one place. They've been the Big D Dallas Cowboys. I think both of these were hard.
Lifetime, by the way. The Bears did begin before my lifetime.
So you never saw Ollie Matson Jr. play?
No, I did not.
No, Ollie Matson, not Junior. He played basketball for Pepperdine against the Tigers in an NCAA tournament. Ollie Matson Sr. you didn't see play, right?
No, I did not.
All right, Dave, you want to go? Who wants to go first? 'Cause I think these are hard at 3 and 4.
Where are we going?
You go wherever you want.
So we're doing the Cardinals, is what you're saying, because the others are not hard at 3 and 4 or 5 for that matter.
Oh, I think they are.
You do? Okay.
I do.
I think with Arizona, I think Neil Lomax would be my number 4. He played there 8.5 years. He had two.
I don't have him in my top 4.
He had 2 Pro Bowls. I think he was good. I think Carson Palmer. Not many people remember him all that well at Arizona, but he was with the Cardinals 5.5 years, 39 wins. He's 2. No question, the Saluki. Jim Hart, 18 years, their all-time number 1 passer. And then number 1, Kurt Warner, won a lot of games, and he was the best quarterback in the league for
Super Bowl.
2 or 3 years. Went to a Super Bowl, absolutely.
I'm with you on number. So you have Warner number 1.
Warner 1, Hart 2, Palmer 3, Lomax 4.
Okay, so we're close. We're close. I went Warner 1. He took them to a Super Bowl in the coulda shoulda game. They probably should have won, but they didn't. But he got them there. When they going back? When had they ever been there before? Never, and probably not. Number 2, Carson Palmer, who just couldn't do much in the playoffs, but arguably a Pro Bowl or a Hall of Fame career regular season. Number 3, Jim Hart. Number 4, it's the guy playing tonight. He already is the 4th best, Kyler Murray.
Oh my, that's a real big case of whatever's happening right now is the best.
This may have been the hardest list of all time to put on besides Kurt Warner, because even with Jim Hart, obviously played 18 years there, but also
never did anything in the playoffs.
Nothing, and threw 247 INTs.
He won 1 playoff game, for goodness sake. Of course, not everybody made the playoffs like they do now.
Did he win 1?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't check that.
He was 1-1 in the playoffs.
Okay.
That's still pretty bad.
Which that's about as good as a guy that's going to be on everybody's list for the Cowboys.
That is true. Did only win 1. But back to Arizona, Kurt Warner, obviously clearly number 1. Did put Jim Hart there just because the longevity, I guess. Carson Palmer at number 3. And then 4, just off of passing yards and somewhat productivity, Jake Plummer.
Yeah, he would have been 5th on my list.
And he was beloved in Phoenix because he had played at Arizona State. I left out Neil Lomax. A lot of numbers. It was like cotton candy, though. It was you're not ever going to get full on him.
He played
he didn't do much.
8.5 years there. He was definitely synonymous with that. I mean, he guy made 2 Pro Bowls, for goodness sakes. A good player.
Everybody makes a Pro Bowl.
Well, Kyler Murray hasn't made 2 Pro Bowls. You got him in.
He was Rookie of the Year. He was Rookie of the Year last year.
He was, but he hasn't made 2 Pro Bowls yet.
All right, the Cowboys.
All right, go ahead.
Number 1, 11-6 all time in the playoffs, which number 2 was 11-4. But I go with Roger Staubach. I have to. Mr. Cowboy to me. Number 2, Troy Aikman. Number 3, the highest paid analyst in sports, Tony Romo. And number 4, he was badly injured last week. Already number 4, Dak Prescott.
Wow. You continue to go with the guys who've already just gotten there. Man.
Who should be ahead of him? Don't tell me Dandy Don. He was fun-loving. He was swashbuckling. He won nothing.
I'm going to go Roger Staubach, number 1, because he made them America's
Good, because we're
team.
old.
He made them America's team. Number 2 is Troy Aikman with 3 Super Bowls. Number 3 is the great announcer with a beautiful wife, by the way. I didn't realize how good-looking she was till I was looking up his bio today. Tony Romo. I didn't realize he played 14 years either. That's pretty. 34,000 yards, 248 touchdowns. That's pretty impressive. And he is a very good analyst. And 4, I hate to do this to you guys, but I got a tie. Danny White. From the World Football League to the NFL, Dandy Don Meredith,
and neither one of them won anything with the Cowboys.
Oh, Dandy Don he was there for a lot of years as their.
I know. Tell me his big win. I can wait. We got 16 minutes.
Dandy Don gave them credibility. That's what I'm going to tell you.
Dak's so much better already. Dak could never play another down. He was better than Don Meredith.
No.
And Danny White was really a better punter than anything.
No, Danny White was okay. He was all right.
When he was with the Southman Grizzlies, dated one of the top 3 or 4 best-looking girls ever from Forest City.
Is that right?
Yep.
Does that
Gotta give him that.
Does that put her into Tony Romo's wife's category?
Hotter.
No way.
Promise.
Wow.
In the day, yeah. I don't know what she looks like now.
Oh, yeah.
She'd be 65 years old
That's
now.
right. Well, I have a thing for 65-year-olds.
Sorry, Dave. Sorry, Dave.
It's all age appropriate, though. You know, that's what that's what it comes down to.
Drew, get us out of this. Bail.
Yeah, because I'm extremely disgusted by everything that's coming out of you two's mouths. Number 1, I went with Troy Aikman. I guess the younger person in me likes Troy a little bit better. Did go Roger Staubach at 2. Tony Romo at 3, and I went with Danny White at 4, 4th all time in career passing yards. Does have 62 and 30 in the regular season with the Cowboys, and like you said, he didn't really win them anything, but neither has Dak. I mean, at this point,
Very good point. Tell me those championships or playoff wins Dak's given the Cowboys.
Well, we got to work on that.
Yes, we do. We absolutely do. But those are good. I mean, I think Dallas has some pretty darn good legacy quarterbacks there. When you're gonna, sort of take a jab at Don Meredith, Don Meredith. His numbers, by the way. What? Give me. Have you got those up there?
Yeah, I actually do have pulled up. Don Meredith threw for 17,199 yards as a Cowboy, 135. Touchdowns to 111 INTs.
Yeah, I forget how many games they had won. When he came in, they were not very good. But
give me playoff wins for Dandy Don. I bet it's not over 2. Are you at Football Ref?
Yeah,
I am at Football Ref. I just clicked on him.
Scroll down to playoffs.
1 and 3.
Yeah, he had 1.
Told you.
Well, I like Dandy Don. He makes it tied for 4th. And those are your Monday Night Football top 4. And as far as our picks go, both Drew and I have the Cowboys tonight. The lone wolf out there now is Brett with the Cardinals. And they're underway in the third quarter, still 13-10. Chiefs on top of the Bills in Buffalo. This portion of the show is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch. What product that is. Lifetime limited powertrain warranty on every new car. That's how good they are. And they stay durable because now with every new Hyundai and every new Genesis, you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package. This is why they are the best. They're always looking out for you. And that product goes beyond just the durability. The technology of safeness is amazing. Tied for the most number of top safety pick vehicles in 2020, and now the 2021s have come in. I've got a new 21. It's a Sonata. And the technology in that is so good, I can leave my car and park it with my key fob outside the car. If I ever need to do that, I have that technology. And there's a whole bunch of other bells and whistles, including if I push a button, I can't go into the other lane if there's another car there. It takes care of you, and so do the people who've been together for 13 years. They take care of you. Go see what this experience, I think it's the best in the business, is all about. Get on Lamar. It's Highway 78 in Mississippi, and the very first exit is Craft Road. Turn left and see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai. We are back in a minute. We've got crunch time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
It's football time in Memphis, and if you or someone you know is thinking of selling their home, it sure better be home selling time in Memphis. And just like you may have a favorite team, favorite coach, or favorite players, you may not have a favorite real estate agent. If you don't, think about drafting me, Sheldon Rosengarten, with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. I always tell people they need to talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers to find out who will be the best quarterback of their home selling team. Have you heard people say that when you want the job done, call Shell Done? Find out why my award-winning, highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option can mean the difference in whether you sit or sell. Also find out how to take advantage of our worldwide relocation network. Call or email me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Shell Dunn Rosengarten at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now, and go Tigers.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Final portion of the show brought to you by Supercuts. Nothing is more important than the health and safety of not only the team at Supercuts. They're all 15 of them in Memphis, locally operated by the Czech family and owned. But all the Memphis Supercuts salons, you know, are open. They've got this safe salon commitment in place. That commitment was developed in partnership with the top infectious disease doctors to maximize safety in all the Supercut salons and also sanitization. They are clean as a whistle, which means when you're ready for a haircut at Supercut, the team at Supercuts is ready for you. Learn more about that safe salon commitment and prepare for your visit by going to supercuts.com. It's crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye!
Boop! Get you!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
On one, on two, on three, hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave, I learned today that the Broyles Award in Little Rock is handed out every year to the top assistant in the country in college football. Leader in the clubhouse is Barry Odom for the Broyles Award.
I would absolutely have to agree with that. One year, one of the candidates was our own Ryan Silverfield a couple of years ago for that particular honor. I learned just now the NFL has informed the Titans its review of how the team handled the coronavirus outbreak is concluded, and I think they're getting off easy. They will face a potential fine, but individuals will not be disciplined. There was no discussion of forfeiture of draft picks or anything of that nature. So the ownership's going to have to pay a little bit of money, but that is it. They got off easy.
I could have done without Minshew mania. It didn't last long, and the Jags once again about to start all over. They will be in the running for Trevor Lawrence or maybe Jacksonville native Matt Jones at quarterback. He's from the Jacksonville area. And why don't they just start all over and try to go for a Dabo and Trevor Lawrence duo?
I guess I could have done without this story. It is. I gave Cody Bellinger a medal because he hit the home run that ended up winning Game 7 against the Braves and getting the Dodgers into the World Series. He was so excited. He jumped in the air and he gave a high five. And when he gave that high five to his teammate, he knocked his shoulder out of socket. Dislocated
baseball
that shoulder.
Players.
Man,
they can get heat rash, can't they?
He's
Keeping a close eye
though.
tonight. And the Dodgers, they are the heavy favorites to win. Keeping a close eye tonight on the end of this Monday late afternoon football and then Monday night football in the traditional time. Kyler Murray back home in Texas, where he was by many considered the #1 Texas high school player ever. He was voted that over Earl Campbell and Billy Sims and Adrian Peterson. World Series analysis tonight on the Baseball Network on Channel 213. And also Tiger basketball practice news. And let's see if there's any NFL coaching changes tonight. If Mike Zimmer is let go or not by the Minnesota Vikings, because they have an open date, it'd be a good time to do it.
While you're doing all this watching, you're going to be doing a lot of listening, by the way, to Joe Buck, who is doing this Kansas City Buffalo game right now in Buffalo. Then he goes to Texas for the World Series. He's got another NFL game on Thursday. Then he goes back and does the World Series. This dude's going to be on every day for the next week, and it's on major network television. Wow.
Love Joe Buck.
I do too. I think he is outstanding, and he is having a very, very lucrative week this week, that is for sure. We've got to thank our we didn't have that many guests this week today, but they were terrific. We got to thank David Cobb from CBSSportsline.com and Evan Barnes, who did such a good job, and what a great win that was for the U of M. We did learn also today, we know for sure, that the Tigers are going to play at 11 o'clock the next 2 Saturdays, COVID allowing. It'll be Temple at home this Saturday, and then the game in Cincinnati will be an 11 o'clock game. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a good night, everybody.
In today's world, a lot is going on, but one thing is always true. You need to take care of yourself. The skin clinics can help. Age, diet,